No, it wasn't you. I can tell you it wasn't John.
Win.
And I'm pretty sure it wasn't Bo because it looked longer in the block of the cell.
And it better not be Crofton.
If it's Crofton, oh my gosh, if it's Crofton, we have to do something totally
It's going to be a real awkward moment on the show.
Now I'm part of me hopes just for the content it'd be funny, but I hope he doesn't win.
I don't want him to win either. Sorry, Crofton, but you're not my first pick.
We wish good things for you, and you're my good friend. Love you, buddy.
Yeah.
I doubt Crofton's here live. It's not Crofton.
Yeah, it ain't Crofton.
I'm sorry I cost this one potential live listener. It's not Crofton.
Oh, you know what? John has looked, so he knows.
All right, great. Perfect.
All right, let's do this then.
Should I text him?
Yeah. Say you won. I mean, you didn't win, or no? Lead him on.
I don't know who won, but I know you didn't win.
Yeah.
Just say, guess who's getting a new computer? And then when he says who, go, not you.
Not you, buddy.
Actually, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to wait to see if he forgets about it and remembers to ask.
That's actually way funnier because he's feigning interest right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's my friend. He could at least listen to my show once in a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, he paid attention when we were giving something away.
Right.
Exactly. Fair weather friend.
Yeah, what the frick?
What can you do for me?
Yeah, do for me what I can't do for you or something.
So he plays Ninja Turtles exactly the same way.
Yeah, I've heard.
That's not true. I was probably the most selfish one on Ninja Turtles because I figured out how to bank energy and I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
Scott knows about Crofton. We played Divinity Original Sin 2 together for
that was a nightmare.
Sessions.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. It was a wonderful experience.
But he was robbing people. Like after you had left too, you sort of dropped off. Like at one point we were like, don't rob anyone. And then the town started attacking us and he was just snickering the whole time.
Because he was robbing people.
You rob people, and now we can't do quests because we told you not to do that.
Yeah,
anyway.
he
doesn't care.
He doesn't care at all. But also, I'm not surprised to hear John was banking things in that game. Not surprised at all to hear that. It's fantastic news. All right,
I wasn't banking things. I was banking knowledge.
Knowledge, I mean,
because I wanted to look good.
Yeah, you were sandbagging. Yeah, I get it. Well, you look great. Here goes. This is the show. We are recording it now, and by gum, it's happening. So. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the following program in 3, 2, 1.
The protocol isn't about death. It's about life. This fragile shell holds us back.
Hello and welcome to Core. This is the first Core of the brand new year of 2023. It's Thursday, January 5th. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. And what was that dancing I just saw on Bo's screen? What'd you have there? What was
That's
that?
Disco Elysium.
Oh.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, that is
hardcore.
Was he dancing in a... I guess I haven't
you
gotten there.
invent a whole new genre of music in that game if you'd only play it.
I need to play it. It's installed. Like a lot of things in my life, it's there. And will I play it? Who knows? Anyway, welcome back to the show, everybody. We're here to bring you a brand new one. And before we get too deep into things, I want to mention something that may sound a little weird and nepotistic, if that's a word. But I'm doing it anyway. So I got word that my niece, Hattie, at her school, she's just walking around and a bunch of kids where we're talking about something and my name came up. So they said Scott John. These are junior high kids. My name came up. And normally that sounds freaky and weird, but she was like, what are you guys talking about? Oh, it's this podcast we listen to. She finds out it's Core.
Oh, my God.
And they're all wild about it. They love Core, dude. Love it. Just obsessed with it.
Really? There are people under 18 that listen to the show?
Yes.
That's incredible.
They listen to it all the
time.
Thank
you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate
it's a show of these really old people that talk about video games.
That's right. So they're super into it. And as a result, she tried to tell them, well, that's my uncle. I know him. And they didn't believe her. So I'm here to say to those kids, I don't know your names, unfortunately, but all you kids that go to, the school I'm talking about.
Because I want to dox you on the show, hardcore.
That I do know.
Because I don't.
That's right. I do know Hattie. She knows me. This is that show. So I hope you still enjoy it and be nice to her at school and apologize for her telling you that she knew us, even though she doesn't know you two, but she knows me. So yes, it was all true is what I'm saying. So quit spreading your dirty rumors. focus. Get your homework done.
What's going on? Now we're mad at them?
They need to get their homework done. They need to study, play some games. That's fine. Listen to our show when you can, but put your head in the books and be prepared for life. You are the future. We need you to lead the way. All right.
Yeah, thank you for the validation. You're young and listening to the show. I'm not. I feel less old, so thank you.
Yeah, I do too.
This is great.
Yeah,
I feel relevant.
Yep. Plus, I just wanted Hattie to have a moment of, her friends going, "Whoa, no way, that's cool." And now maybe she'll have some power in their group. I don't know. Anyway, so that's all I had to say.
Goes from wholesome to scary to intense. Like this has just been a roller coaster ride.
Yep. It's a new year. We're trying new things. Oh, speaking of new things, let's get ready to talk about the big topic this week. You might be familiar with Wizards of the Coast.
Huh?
Yeah, Bo's thrilled about this whole set of affairs.
He doesn't care at all. Bo's just waiting. He's put a novel in the document. He's like, yeah. Okay, you guys talk about the games, and then I'm going to talk about legal documentation for a while.
That's true. So if you're not
that much in there, I have my own notes.
Yeah, you're fine. What you put here is totally fine, and I think it's absolutely worth talking about. But the folks with your D&D license, that's who we're talking about here.
And Magic the Gathering.
I should mention that. A few other IPs. They are now canceled 5 video game projects. Now, important to note here, none of these were announced, so we don't know. We didn't know about these before. It's not like these were announced games or shown in some form at an event or whatever, and then the plug was pulled. They're just straight up canceled before any announcement was made. And we probably won't know much about what they were going to be unless they offer up that info or something leaks. But my guess is it was probably some additional D&D games. They haven't had a lot of luck with that lately. I think a real prominent example of this was the Baldur's Gate. Oh no, what's that Baldur's Gate spinoff that was based on
Dark Alliance?
Dark Alliance 2, that's it. Yeah. That was kind of a stinker. That was a tanker. Didn't do well. Really, the only really awesome thing they have in the pipe, in my opinion, is Baldur's Gate 3. And so maybe this is fine. Maybe they were all mediocre and they want to reset and go, all right, we need to really focus on what we actually want to do and not go the 40K route where everybody's got a game for 40K. And some of them hit and many of them miss. We want to have a more tight control over that. John, do you have a take on that? Do you think this is I hate to make a huge deal out of stuff that wasn't actually announced, so we're not, what we don't know doesn't hurt us kind of thing. But hearing there were 5 games in the works and being D&D fans like we are, it probably stings a little.
I mean, yeah, like there's multiple sides to it, with cancellation of projects comes termination of jobs. So, that's one thing to not necessarily make light of. But they don't have a great track record with what's come out recently. So they haven't said that they want to get out of games. That's another thing to keep in mind, that they're not saying like, hey, we're done with video games and we're canceling all the projects except Baldur's Gate 3 that are in the pipeline. They've just canceled 5 and they still say video games are an important medium that we want to cover. But reports are that the company is experiencing some maybe big financial hardships at the moment.
Yeah.
And so it's maybe not surprising that they're doing stuff like this, because it's just not paying what they were hoping it would be paying.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. Again, you don't miss what you didn't know you were going to get. It could have been Dungeons and Dragons stuff. It could have been Magic stuff. Could have been stuff we have no idea on.
Yeah.
But I am very happy that it was not Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine at this stage if that was getting pulled or something? Oh, my
That
gosh.
would be a cluster.
Yeah.
It could
people already own it.
Pre-orders.
Yeah.
I've owned it for like a year. Like that can't happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're not kidding. Like, there's no way they would have done that, but it would have been insane if they would have. Or if they'd have said something like, we're going to release it, but
they'd have to compensate Larian like for years of development time. Like they can't do that.
Yeah, that'd be really effed up. But on the other hand, I mean, if I was to look at this from a positive corporate viewpoint, they probably are smart to put all their guts into Baldur's Gate 3, where we know the game is already great and going to be great at release, and then just maybe not have too many hands and too many cookie jars. Like, I get that. I would also be frustrated if I was Wizards and you look at your past and you look at your legacy and you have this amazing legacy that is responsible for inspiring so much of what we think of as RPGs and progression mechanics and so many things in so many modern video games, including shooters and stuff. Shooters play like mini D&D games in lots of ways now because that stuff's inspired so many different innovations and iterations. And so to come all this way and not have a bigger stake in that space is probably frustrating.
Well, I think that's a good transition to the next bit of this topic, because I think that frustration is maybe showing with future projects going forward.
Yep.
Well, on the game side, though, I'm just like, aren't they licensing this stuff out? Like, what are they losing really here? It's not like it's their own development. It's not like it's like their own people.
I guess so.
If it's like, that's what I mean. Like, Larian is not owned by Wizards. Like, it's a license agreement. Like, there's terms, but Larian's in charge. It's running its own ship.
Right.
So either like the product's not satisfactory enough, like it could be a quality issue, or it could be, as John said, the changes they're making in preparation for the 6th edition of Dungeons and Dragons, also called the very crappy 1D&D, which we're going to throw a lot of ire towards.
Is it one shortly. Like the number 1 or 1 O-N-E?
1D&D. Like,
yeah,
it's like they're trying to make it an Apple product. And I like, because the 1D&D is supposed to be like, this is the one true D&D, but also 1D&D is punchy. And also it's like starting from the beginning again, right?
Yeah.
It's all kinds of wrong. It's all kinds of tone deaf. It's really crappy name because that's what 5th edition is supposed to be. 5th edition is the 1D&D. And I think, if I'm being honest, because we covered this a little while ago, I think my tepid reaction to this news is just like pretty okay with 5th edition. I'm not looking for a new. I don't think anyone's looking for a new one. When 5th was announced, people were excited. I'm not registering any excitement. Like, people are good. They don't want a new edition. Like, this is manufactured something that may turn out to be a good thing depending on all these new tools they're bragging about. But Wizards and even D&D itself does not have a good track record of really generating hype and living up to it, right? It's not.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, those cancellations are probably somehow connected to the next bit of news that leaked today.
Yeah, tell us about this. So the OGL 1.1 leaks. This pretty much explains. I mean, John alluded to it, but I think it just sort of explains it to me. They're making a massive play to pull stuff back under their umbrella and have it be less out there for everybody to feed on, is my opinion of this.
Yeah.
But you go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, the open gaming license, for people who don't know, it takes portions of the basic D&D rule set and offers people a license to publish their own works with it, essentially.
Celeste is a good example, right?
Celeste, the OGL 1, I think it came out along with 4th edition, I think. I'm not good at the history and the knowledge of this stuff, but generally speaking, the idea is that, if you're making your own content using, D&D rules, whether it's your own adventure, your own custom rule set that you're going to sell online, they say in the document when it was originally built, it was mainly to cover books and not other sorts of content. Just to make it sort of easy and not restrictive, like there's as a copyrights holder, they are going to hold copyrights to certain things. I think, for example, like a Beholder might be like a copyrighted Wizards thing. So you can't make an adventure that has Beholders in it without discussing with Wizards and licensing.
You at least can't name them that. You can have big heads.
I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure. But like the spell Fireball, you can put that, you can refer to Fireball. You can outline the rules for the Fireball spell in your own content. You're okay.
Right.
So the idea is that, this is because I think at the time, Pathfinder was kind of eating Wizards lunch in some ways. there was just this was sort of seen as a positive move on the part of Wizards to just support community homegrown content, because it very much is like a social thing and people make their own shit, yada yada yada.
Right.
What they've done to update it in the leaks today is to the document went from, I think what I read on the Gizmodo article was like 900 words to about 9,000 words for the open gaming license. Jeez. And it adds a tons more restrictions. I'm going to go over the main ones that jumped out at me. It's not all that's there, but the one that really sort of triggered me my anger the most was basically no matter what you're doing now, everything's covered under this new license. So that means you fall into a certain tier and category, whether it be non-commercial or commercial. So non-commercial, like There Will Be Dungeons, for example, would be, because the way they define it, we offer the product for free, and you can subscribe like through Dungeons Plus to give us some money for it, but it's not paywalled. That would put us under an arrangement like that would put us under like non-commercial license, but we're under a license agreement. And the triggering part is that under a license agreement, they say you own the stuff you make. So I made my own custom campaign, let's say, right? With my own world, stuff like that.
Sure.
But Wizards has the right to use your material how it sees fit without paying any royalties. So take that to mean that they can, you're doing a Let's Play, you made your own custom world, or you're publishing your own book, custom content, great, you make money. You're making under the amount where you don't have to give Wizards any money, that's fine, but they can just take and use what they want. You own it, but they can do what they want with it. Like, it's really just like, ugh, what is this? Like,
does it affect current works or anything just published?
We'll get to that. Okay. So let me get to that. That's another aspect. So first of all, under license agreements, they're kind of doing, when you work for an employer and they're like, anything you invent using our systems belongs to us. And it's like, so if I write a novel while I'm at work, you own the rights to my novel. That's not enforceable, I don't think. But it's language like that that's really is shitty. Yes. So the other thing they're trying to do with the open gaming license is say that the previous gaming license no longer applies and is replaced with this license, which means,
what, 1.0,
so as an example, like I just got the Ouroboros book. Chris Metzen did. Here it is, show and tell, showing a nice big thick book. Nice. Great. He published a campaign setting for 5th edition. The way that the leaks have worded things is that the new license would apply, which means one of the stipulations is if you make over $750,000 in revenue, you owe Wizards 25%, straight up.
Yeah.
Under the old license, that's not the case. So it's unclear if somebody like Chris, who published Ouroboros, is now going to retroactively owe money, because the Kickstarter breach was over $1 million. So it's unclear whether or not they're going to be, the way they've worded the leaks, and they've been silent on the issue, makes it seem like maybe going forward they'll be entitled to revenue, or they may be able to go back to a certain period. Like it's very unclear.
Retroactive.
But I've listened to some lawyers there's already like a lawyer YouTube has already, like a D&D lawyer YouTube's already on the case. I've been listening to some of their vlogs. And it seems like it might not be enforceable, because the idea behind an agreement is that like you make it with the intent that there'll be some stability. So if you publish a book covering the old license, that's why you published it, that you can't just pull the rug out from underneath people. Yeah. But the point is, whether or not something is actually enforceable still requires a court of law to take care of, which means this is going to scare small creators away from doing things. This is going to make it harder for people to do things. They have to consider what license, and it just will have a chilling effect overall on, community, homegrown or small. Like, I know Chris Metzen's a guy that a lot of people know, but War Chief is a small entity. It's not, a large, it's not a big concern. Like, so right. We would consider them a small creator for the purposes of this book that just did fantastically well. Is Wizards going to exert its right now to say, hey, we're going to make our own Ouroboros book because you publish it under the license, and under the license, you own it, but we can do what we like too with it. We can make an Ouroboros book. So, like, what does that mean for that? Ugh.
Yeah, it's ugly. I don't like that.
So there's a lot of ugly shit in these leaks. The other one was I think. Oh, the other one was just like they're stating that the open gaming license only covers books and PDF printed material. It does not include streaming. It does not include. They say it doesn't allow for anything else like videos, virtual tabletops, computer games, novels, apps, graphic novels, music, songs, dances, and pantomimes. uh, so
Don't
what
be
about?
pantomiming D&D. That's what you gotta. That's what you gotta figure out.
So on the core show, we're big fans of a little game called Solasta that uses the SRD famously for its rule set, but shies away from owing anything. What do they owe now? Is Wizards going to be coming after them for revenue? Is Solasta going to have to be shut down? Like, what, because it's the whole notion is that game is based on the rule set and D&D rule set faithfully. Like its whole identity is up in the air. Are they going to go after them now for their revenue, for example? Like they're going in the wrong direction. What they should be doing is making cool products and services for us to use and keep it open. But they're trying to stymie competition. The big one I think everyone thinks of is Pathfinder, which relies, I don't know if it still does in the second edition, but my understanding is Pathfinder relies heavily on the SRD aspect, and then basically is like an alternative third edition
It's like
that people like.
It's like a fork to. It's like using the Quake engine to build Half-Life. You're forking it.
I've seen some estimates that probably it's at about 4 to 8% market share versus what Wizards does, because Wizards
Right.
you might say Wizards like D&D is not having a good year. Wizards not doing well. It still earns like hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue per year. It's still like a behemoth in the TTRPG space,
Right.
without any known competition. So the fact that they're kind of crushing all the other options is just really gross and icky, and like not constructive to the future. Which we can talk about the future is that this one D&D is coming down the pipeline, and we know they're trying to do a virtual tabletop. They're trying to do something with D&D Beyond. Nobody asked for a new edition, to be honest, and they failed to make a pitch as to why a new edition is needed. Like, there's nothing about why can't we just play 5th edition? And this OGL is stated in such a way that even if you're making new content tomorrow for 5th edition, 4th edition, all the editions, you still owe Wizards the money. You're still under this agreement. No more 1.0 OGL. It's now 1.1. That likely some of the stuff they're going to try and sell us in the near future on the 6th edition is manufactured to get more money. And the deciding factor will be, is this stuff so awesome that we all just flock to make this agreement because they made role-playing so amazing? If not, then, man, piss off. We can just make our content rules agnostic and not publish it saying it's for any particular edition, and just, there's a sea change coming, because this is pretty terrible.
Yeah, they're trying to bring it all back in house and control everything, every aspect of it. I wonder if it affects
It'll affect Critical Role.
That's my
plays.
That's my question. Like it'll affect their let's plays, but will it somehow poke their future in their deal with Amazon and their show and all that? Like,
they do have one of the exemptions in there is that they can make direct agreements with people. Like the open license applies to people who they don't talk to, right? Like, so Matt Mercer's done books for them. I'm sure they must have. If they don't have agreements in place, those conversations have been or are taking place, and agreements are being signed potentially, or Critical Role is going to make a transition in the near future away from Dungeons and Dragons because they moved away from Geek and Sundry.
That'd be crazy.
That would be
Can
crazy.
you imagine? I don't think it'll happen, because I'm sure Wizards is savvy enough to promise the Earth, Moon, and stars to them, but
they'd be foolish.
Can you imagine? Just think about it for a second. If hi, welcome to Critical Role. We are now playing Pathfinder.
Yeah. But if you look carefully at the Critical Role branding and even the Amazon TV show, it's not Legend of Vox Machina D&D television show.
Right.
There's
all
no
the names
mention.
have been changed.
And I don't know who's got to do it, but we really need open source TTRPG, because this company's owning rule sets and stuff has really got to stop. Like, if you write a book, it's copywritten, but there's this whole notion of like, well, this is copyrightable, but that is. I hate this topic because it is such a damper on the hobby. And I encountered this even, when we were doing There'll Be Dungeons and we're using Roll20 for VTTs, for virtual tabletop online, for people that don't know what that means.
Yeah.
When you go to buy like the art packs and you go to the artist sites, some of those guys are like, if you're going to use this in an online game, you have to write me for permission. Like it is like it this whole like intellectual copyright blah 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 just like affects everything, and I just want to sit and play, and I want to stream it because it's 2023 and we do shit online. Like shut up, like I get that intellectual rights holders need to be compensated and paid, but at the same time, it's like there is this undercurrent in the TTRPG space where it's hard to just like easily actually create content, and this isn't making it any easier in terms of the complexity of doing it. I really hate it. We need like open source. We need like a popular open source TTRPG rule set, because guess what? Everyone house rules. Like no one's religiously using the rules and the stuff in the context. There's an orc in my thing. Maybe it's like the Wizards one. Maybe it isn't. Like.
Yeah, who's adhering to it 100%? Probably nobody at this point. Maybe if you're new
exactly.
or something. Yeah.
And so like part of this covers the big business interest, which really doesn't affect us. But I think this has a really dampening effect on small time creators who like to make things and knowing where they stand. Particularly, you can just kind of ignore it, but I hate the part where they just say you grant a non-exclusive, perpetual, irrevocable, worldwide, sub-licensable royalty-free license to use that content for any purpose on the stuff you make that they consider under this license. That is gross. Very gross.
It's pretty gross. I'm in full agreement.
Anyway, I've talked a lot, but this is a dark, first big L for 2023 goes to Wizards of the Coast. Congratulations. And you mentioned MTG, like that's not Magic's also having problems too. They're like overprinting old rares and really making their fans unhappy as well.
Just throw Magic in as one.
Well,
more
that's also
problem on
happening.
top of it.
There's a real like tone or shift at that company where they're really displeasing customers at this time, and this is just more of it. So,
well, I'm curious how while you were talking, I texted the two people we've talked about today just to say, hey, what do you guys think of this? I would love to hear what they have to say, and whether or not I can say it on the air or not. But have they had to deal with it?
The air
like I don't know. If you make a contract with people in good faith, they should be able to proceed in good faith. And
but it's not a contract, right? It's a license.
It's a but the license, same thing, right? It's just
when we did There Will Be Dungeons, we didn't have to call Wizards and say, oh, hey, can we do this? Like, is it cool? What are the rules? We just did it.
Well, that's because that's what the license affords you, is to do that. So you in good faith act on the license's promise of how it works, so that you're not having to do a contract for every single person. And then you move forward. And if they're making that barrier more stern and trying to, my worry is they try to make it retroactive. If they do that, that's very bad. If they don't, it's a little less bad, but it still sucks. It stifles innovation.
It seems like the assessment is based on the wording is they're trying to make it retroactive.
Ugh.
Yeah,
that's dirty. Dirty.
The problem too is who it impacts, because it doesn't really impact small, just having fun, just doing their own thing people. It's not going to impact, unless they choose to make a thing of it, the really big things. But there's like this middle ground that Bo talked about, where it's like you're kind of in between. You're not small potatoes. You're doing some cool things. You've got a lot of attention. You're getting some revenue, and it just comes in and stymies that growth. Yeah. And it just impacts that middle section. And it just kind of kills the desire for and the ability for creativity in that avenue.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think any of us like this, and I would love to hear some folks at home pipe in about it. So please do talk to thecore@gmail.com is where you can send your comments or thoughts, or you can text us at 801-471-0462. Do you think this is a decent idea for them to pursue, or do you think this is as bad as we do? Because it sounds bad.
How many people out there? How many of you out there are canceling your pantomimes?
Yeah, all your D&D pantomimes.
Oh man, my D&D pantomime is done. It's done.
Man. I really do feel like I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's a company going, damn it, we should control all this. We can't just, everyone's having all this fun, and it was our idea, and now
This would be like Blizzard suing Valve for or not Valve, but Riot. That came from our, like
well,
it's like
they did sue. They
Did
did
they?
sue Valve, yeah.
Oh yeah, they right. They
Or
did,
actually, was it the other way around? Was it Valve sued
think
Blizzard,
Valve
or
got
did
sued-
Blizzard sue?
Blizzard sued Valve is what happened because Valve
for Dota.
Valve started
that was
Dota
a
and used the
trademark,
name
though, right?
because Blizzard was going to call it Blizzard Dota, and it was all built obviously in their own backyard in Warcraft 3. So Dota has all its roots there. And so when Valve trademarked Dota 2 and we're working on it, that's when Blizzard got litigious and.
But it was a trademark issue, not a you can't make a MOBA. We own the copyright because it was made with our software.
Yeah.
But this reeks of that same
this is.
principle of, man, why aren't we the ones profiting from our creativity, which isn't true. Like, that's a fallacy to begin with. To assume that because you created D&D, you're the reason Critical Role is successful that's not true. That's just
it's not true.
It's false.
It's a there's a word for that. But yeah, it's a false connection or comparison or something. Like that is absolutely true. That's wrong. And here's the thing. Critical Role would survive on Pathfinder or something else. I'm not sure D&D could weather the backlash that this would cause. They are big. They're like Bo keeps mentioning, they're the behemoth in the market. But I don't think they could handle the backlash that would come from Critical Role and other high-profile examples of public D&D pulling away from them. That would be suicide for them.
They might be able to survive, but they wouldn't be as big as they are right now.
No, not nearly.
Like, they're having a hard time, but they've also grown exponentially on the success of other people bringing more eyes and attention to the medium. So they've grown because of these things that they're now seemingly, because this just reeks of resentment, like these changes.
It does.
They are enjoying success on the backs of the thing they're now resenting.
I mean, I don't even know if emotion plays into it. This is a corporation owned by Hasbro, with shareholders trying to get money to do the things that they're probably used to doing when other parts of their IP holdings for Wizards is very different, and this probably is bringing them more in line with how other products are done, but it doesn't work for TTRP. Nobody likes it for the TTRPG space.
Different business. And you can do that for Uno or whatever they own.
Yeah, but I think this is lawyers and CEOs just trying to control as much as possible their product. Like, why? It's unheard of, right? And there's even less of it in the video game space of people letting their tools out for people to play with because heaven forbid someone make an awesome game and then make money on their own using the stuff you made. The travesty of it all.
How could
shareholders
it be?
crying. Boo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah. Iteration in gaming, tabletop or otherwise. So that genie's out of the bottle, boys.
We have MOBAs because that happened.
Right.
But that's not how lawyers and dumb money people think. They just think dumb.
Let me ask you this, Bo. Does this tarnish at all your previously undying man love you had for the Transformers animated series? Since that's
I love the old Transformers. I mean, I was thinking about this because I think about Transformers just casually. I was thinking about how I don't like newer Transformers because of how they vilify the Decepticons.
Yeah.
Like, they make them look mean. Like, I was looking at like later iterations of Megatron and how it's like, oh, he's evil, so he's got to look evil.
Yeah.
But original Megatron doesn't look evil. I mean, he's
looks
gray.
like he has a unibrow.
Yeah, like there's he obviously is a nasty person, and like the color palettes are if you look at the Decepticons versus the Transformers, there's like lots of bright colors on the Autobot side, and blues and cool colors with the Decepticons. But like overall, they're all Transformers, and there's a recurring theme of Megatron and Optimus always working together to set aside the differences because they're all. And there's sort of like an undertone of like we can talk about civil rights and race relations and things like there's this whole there's a division and fracturing of the Transformers, but they're all one people, and the best stories are usually when they set aside their differences to whether it's to help humans or to solve some sort of problem. And the more nuanced takes in the recent years of Megatron being a misunderstood, like he's a tyrant and evil person, but he has he wants a a Cybertron that is prosperous as much as anyone else. It's just his way is the fascist, tyrannical way and not the right way. That's why Optimus is the hero for the working class and all that. But like, the later stuff doesn't have that. The later stuff is Megatron bad. Ah, I'm bad. I just want to suckle all your oil. I'm Megatron. It's like it's lame. It's like you guys don't really like Transformers that much. If that's all you took out of it was that, and I think Hasbro's current, they're the ones driving the licenses and the stuff.
Yeah,
they're not like they don't seem to have much of that. If they get back to telling good stories in the Transformers space, it'd be.
Megatron, what he should be, his analog is Magneto in the X-Men.
Yeah,
he actually wants kind of what Xavier wants. Their methods are just totally opposed.
I mean, I think Magneto's probably more nuanced of a character than Megatron is, but yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm going to make you a T-shirt one day because you made a great quote, and I just don't want to forget it. And it'll say Megatron : not a very nice person. Because I've never heard anyone describe Megatron as that before, and you did today, and that made me smile. So watch for that T-shirt coming soon.
I think Megatron's dope, man. He's just he's lost his way, but he's
yeah, and his transformation's dumb. He shouldn't be a gun. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's really
dumb because he can't hardly fire himself. He does occasionally, but he usually needs the cassette player to do it for him, and that's annoying.
It's even more annoying when he does fire himself because why did he need people all those other times?
Yeah. Is he less accurate when he's not being held? Like, they don't explain any of it. I've been watching Gen 1, and there are questions. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, well done, Hasbro. You're being dicks. Moving on. Let's get to... hey, we got a patron message of the week. This is a question that Bo will like. This came to us from a patron. By the way, his name is G Peanuts. Or more like G Peanuts, like that.
Yeah.
I think. G-E-E, Peanuts. Anyway.
G Peanuts?
Yeah, G Peanuts.
Peanuts.
Like he's excited about peanuts in a very 1950s
G
way.
Peanuts is afraid.
Yeah, G Peanut. I almost said G Penis. Anyway.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. That's why I picked the name.
I feel like that's why the name is what it is.
It's starting to sound like a rapper too. Penis. It's like, yo, I'm G Penis. Or I'm G Peanuts.
I gotcha. Only took 3 times to get you.
Jamie alert. That's a close.
Anyway, he asked this. It's a good question. I think Bo can answer this the most, although I can definitely answer it as well. But anyway, does gaming on 120 hertz monitor really make that huge of a difference? I use a 60 hertz monitor, and that's meant for video editing and color grading. I'm thinking of purchasing a 120 hertz monitor that are also color accurate, but it's a bit pricey. G Peanuts. Well, if you're buying that for dual use here, so you need it for this work stuff you're talking about, but also for gaming, I can tell you from personal experience, once you've had that taste of 120 or more hertz on your monitor or your television, you kind of don't want to ever go back. It's hard to explain because 60 is smooth and nice, and everyone's been pining for that for decades, right? That was the big thing is that, that game runs at 60. Yep. 120, man.
That game that goes up and you're like, why is this so much better than everything else I've ever seen?
Yep.
I was just talking with someone who's like, I can't remember who it was, but they're like, that's fine. I play on, it goes to 30. It's no big deal. It's okay. It might have been Crofton. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It might have been someone else. And I was like, yeah, that's what you say when you don't know what heaven tastes like. Like,
do people
you know what I mean?
Heaven traditionally?
Yeah,
this souffle is heavenly.
Oh, okay.
Not
literally eating.
It's
the house
metaphorical. It's we're in metaphor land. But
okay.
Maybe I'm hungry. I just
you don't need
clouds.
it. So one, you don't need it. If you enjoy gaming on 60 frames, it's fine. It's fine.
Do you know what?
You're not missing out necessarily, but I would say. If you are enthusiast of gaming, this is a good direction to go in, and it makes things like Heroes of the Storm look like butter. Like I couldn't believe how I was feeling about the way things were moving on the screen. Now that I'm a little more used to it, I don't appreciate it until I lose it.
Yeah.
But it's like playing in butter. It's like rather than being in a monitor, it's like what if butter turned into a screen and you could just look at butter and watch it play. You plug your HDMI into a stick of butter. Like, I'm just like, it is much better. It's
It's massively better. Whether it's worth the price or not, you're gonna have to make a personal choice on that. But
the other thing is too. It's like, are you a PC enthusiast? If you're able to run games at 160 frames, but your monitor only refreshes 60, you're throwing money out. Like, why did you buy all that good gear? If you're not going to see all the frames your computer's rendering, you're wasting electricity. It costs electricity to make those frames. There's that aspect too. And then, lastly, I can't remember what I was going to say. Shit.
I know what I'll
Bo
add.
just climbed on this soapbox. He's like, "You're a bad person. You're wasting electricity."
No.
And also other things I can't remember.
No. There's some other aspect I wanted to say too. Is do not get one if your PC is only rendering stuff at 60 frames, because then there's no point. That's another thing you need. Another dynamic that buyer beware. Having 120 refresh rate doesn't make your games look better if your computer can't even run at that many frames. So if you're not even paying attention to that, then maybe you're not even noticing, or maybe you get no benefit. So if you're running an older video card,
it's like buying a video card because you're stoked about ray tracing, and then you never buy a video game that supports ray tracing. You just be informed, I suppose. By the way, if you say that you lick or eat heaven, this is the answer you get from Imperius. Sacrilege. He'll tell you that. He'll say sacrilege to you.
I'm not supposed to lick heaven.
I'm thinking about Imperius because for the Diablo show, I'm going to do a little thing on him. And boy, he's an uppity bastard. He's just got a stick straight up his butt.
Though.
Yeah, I love him.
Like that moment where he drops in and kills everything you're fighting and just tells you to hurry up.
Yeah.
Is like one of the best moments in that campaign.
I agree. Diablo 3, Diablo? Why did that sound wrong? Diablo. Diablo 3, in the cutscene where I am justice itself and I'm leaving and I'm gonna go complain about my stomach now, and Imperius is super blown away by that and like offended. Such classic stuff. It's so good. Everyone wants to hate on 3, but I love that stuff. All right.
I wanted to say one more thing about this, because he did say, I'm thinking of purchasing a 120 hertz monitor, but it's a bit pricey. It is a bit pricey, so don't feel bad. Like, look for a sale. Money. It is pricey, but I got mine at a pretty good deal too. There might be sales that come up.
Yeah, I got a $500 one for like $250 on sale, and I love it. My LG
I think I paid
great.
$300 for mine, and it's a 31-incher.
Yeah, so mine's 35, I think. I don't know.
But there was a sale. It was off like 40% off. It was originally $500 or $600. So I know they're like expensive.
The one place you can save money is oftentimes these will be G-Sync also, which is always good to have if you've got GPU from them.
On mine.
But also, which means you don't have to use VSync, which is just a software solution. You're actually doing proper syncing with the monitor itself, so that helps a lot. But the one thing I didn't get was HDR with this. And that's how I was able to shave some money off of that. If you don't need HDR capability, then you can get rid of it. It's beautiful.
Is it good?
It's beautiful.
No, because I've played a few games this past week that have forced my monitor.
Windows HDR is garbage.
Yeah, because everything looks gray and matte, and it's terrible.
Well,
my experience with HDR has been like, ugh.
TV HDR is mind-blowingly good, but But I think
the Windows integrated HDR is not good. You should never have it.
Yeah, so I've it's happened and I've streamed it too, and I'm like, how do I shut this off? Sekiro can't shut it off. It's terrible.
I'm good to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
You made me want to play Sekiro. I turned it on, and I think because of how my streaming setup is, I couldn't turn it off. And I was like, I'm not playing Sekiro. I guess this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't turn it off. I haven't figured it out yet either.
It's got to be an option
Sekiro.
in there.
I think it's because it's a port. It's not an option. There's no HDR option.
It's not an internal option. I found the solutions where they're like, we'll turn it off on Windows, but my Windows thinks it's off.
Yeah, same as what is mine.
No. Oh, I'm glad I got the monitor I did then. I don't want to mess with that. That sounds like a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Not good.
No. All right. Well, if you're doing a TV and high-end console stuff, it's beautiful, but that's
maybe there's an INI file that I can.
Yeah. Oh man, that's old school. I love that. Edit your INIs. Oh.
Yeah, you still do that now. It's not.
Oh, that's true.
You haven't done it in a while.
I just haven't heard people say that in a long time.
Scott's nostalgic for it.
I am. That and remember the high mem? Not high mem.
I've been doing that because of Skyrim VR. Boy, oh boy, the paths I've walked
Yeah.
modding that game.
So there you go. I really want, this is a weird thing to say here, but I want Valve to release Proton, which is already a fork of Linux or a fork of Wine or whatever they started with. Proton's what lets them make the Steam Deck work and work so well. And it does work so well, but it's Linux and it's just faking it out to make you think you're running Windows games natively. And it's beautiful and wonderful. Put Proton out there for everything that needs it. Let me run that on my Mac. Let me have that on my PC if I want to. Let me put that. I know I can do that just by having a Linux PC. I'm not saying that, but I think Proton is the bomb. It's so good.
Can't you just install like Ubuntu or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I could literally install Proton on a Linux box, but what I want to do is have everything. I want all the benefits. So I want to have, all my production I do on a Mac. Let me run Proton off the side, and I can run all my Windows games on there with no issues.
Oh, little side note, I got to put a Steam Deck in my hands.
Whoa. Steam Deck. I just make sure I heard that right.
Deck, sorry. Steam Deck.
Not a steamy.
I was using an Australian accent. Steam Dick.
Steam Dick. So what'd you think?
When he tried to lean into
Crofton
the
has
accent,
one.
it became a third word.
Right.
Crofton has one, so I was able to just see what it felt like and played a bit of Doom Eternal in it. It's pretty sweet.
It's good, right?
Nice little device. Yeah.
Yeah, I love mine. I have a game that runs so well on it today that I'll talk about that. I'm so excited about how well it ran. Anyway, let's move on to our week in gaming. Speaking of which, let's do that now. Yes, that's right. Shared games we played this week. I think just John and I had a game that was shared, and that is Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yeah, I played because you talked about it during Game of the Year, and I was like, well, Hot Wheels are really important in our household right now.
Sure.
Because the boy likes monster trucks, and he's got a little Lightning McQueen Hot Wheel that is also very popular, and it's kind of gotten me hooked. I'm like, oh yeah, Hot Wheels are rad. Like, that's the secret of being a parent, is you get to kind of be a kid again every now and then.
Yeah, you get to relive.
It's acceptable. Nobody's going to judge you.
That's true.
Because they're like, oh, he's got a kid. It's fine.
Yeah.
And
I don't have kids, and I behave like a kid all the time, so don't worry about it.
That's true.
I set the bar lower so you can behave a certain way.
Hearing that it was good, because the only thing because I saw pictures of it, I was like, man, this is kind of what I've always wanted. Like, places that look like big rooms and Hot Wheel tracks going through it, and cool looking Hot Wheels cars riding around. Like, this looks like a good game, and the reviews were not very great when I read the Steam reviews for it. So hearing you speak glowingly of it was kind of the thing that made me bite the bullet on it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say it's a rad little game. Like, it's not the greatest game of all time. It's just super fun though.
It's really good at what it's good at. Like, it knows what it is, and it does that really well. I think the most of those reviews, they're mostly sour over blind loot boxes, which you don't. Well, I guess you can pay for shit too. There's a bunch of bundles and things, but blind loot boxes come from winning races, and you never know what's in there, and it might be a car you like or not. And I think people are just sour on that stuff, because I think the game itself, I mean, it's smooth. It's a beautiful Unreal Engine game. It looks like I'm playing with a toy, but in a real meaty, fun way. And the tracks are fun. Like, I really don't have much to complain about. It's an arcade racer, so you know what you're getting into. You're not getting Gran Turismo here, nor should you, right? That'd be dumb with a game like this. So I'm very glad to hear that. I mean, again, I don't think John or this isn't the kind of game where like, oh, that's all I care about now. I'm going to watch speed runs. This is my life. It's a fun racing game.
Yeah, it's just fun. And, the kids are excited to see it. I brought the baby in just to see what he would think if I showed him a 3D model of one of his trucks. And he lost his mind over it. I didn't think it was going to register. But as soon as I pulled up one of his trucks on the game, he was like, he pointed. He's like, look at that.
Yeah.
So the novelty's there for him too, and it's just neat.
It scratches my my wipeout itch, I think, a little bit. It's not obviously, they're not cars hovering in the future or any of that, and the music's not the same. I don't mean it in that way, but just kind of the fantasy of racing in a way that you never would do normally. And in this case, it's big living rooms that are all rearranged with tracks, and as you're driving around, you're seeing a big boombox off to the left and a chair off to the right. And part of me misses that Micro Machines kind of thing. So for whatever reason, it's clicking with me, and it is smooth as that butter Bo was talking about on your Steam Deck's real good on there.
Yeah, and the thing is I'm not a big enough racing game fan to really like go hard on any big racing game. Like this is just I got in, I had a bunch of cars. It's not based on anything other than toys that they sell, so I'm not like getting in there going like, "Oh god, I got to really earn up." Get some like I don't care. It's just like maybe I'll be a Batman car this time. Maybe oh look, I'm a Ninja Turtle car. Like none of that really matters. It's just dumb fun, and you just get in, you do races. And like it's not more complicated than that. I mean, it probably could be, but it's not for me, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
So I could go the route of, playing like a Forza or something like that, but that has more than I actually want, because when I'm in the mood to play a racing game, I'm really just in the mood to just get in and play a racing game real quick.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, we're on the same page with this. It's good, and it was on sale during the I think it might still be, actually. During the most recent Steam sale, the winter sale, and it was half off, I think, 50% off. It was a really good deal, so I grabbed it. It sounds like you did too, and good times were had and will continue to be had with that there game. As a multiplayer mode, I played that too. That was fun. I lost a lot, but it was fun. Got my ass kicked. Lots of people playing it. That's the other thing. I was never waiting for games or anything. So
does it annoy you that you're probably being beaten by children?
A little bit. It also annoys me that there's probably some 52-year-old who never got over his Hot Wheels who's probably killing me as well, and really kicking everyone's ass. So there's something about that extreme too that made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know.
You're like, I don't like either of them.
I don't like either option.
I don't like everyone who beats me.
Yeah.
That's you know what? That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I feel that way a lot.
Yeah, it's good though. Check it out. Hot Wheels Unleashed. I promised a couple of people I would repeat game names when we were done talking about them.
Well, don't worry, Grandma will take care of that.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Grandma will do it at the end of the show again as well.
We'll try to remember it all the time.
There you go.
Forget because we're busy doing a show.
I played Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. What's the full name? Do I have that right?
Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga?
Yeah. Is that how they say it? I guess that's how they say it. It's a big long name.
Skywalker Saga, I believe is how
this was also like half off during the sale. I want to say it was maybe $24, and I had some money left over on my Steam wallet, so it was a perfect thing for me to just grab. And so I did. This is great. This game. Yeah. It's surprising to say this because I was not sick of, but I'd seen all I needed or thought I could see from those old Lego games, Star Wars or otherwise. Just felt like I'd seen everything there is to see. They were all kind of the same camera view, the same sort of gameplay. Like that's just what it was. Something about them parking the camera right behind your back, going third person with it, way more shooting stuff. Really creative like puzzle stuff that isn't like hard. There's not like a ton of difficulty going on, but just this really fun romp through all the stories. I'm looking at the Jar Jar crap here. Who cares about that? Nobody. But
no, he's great because my favorite thing about Jar Jar is a lot of characters, once they start running, there's like a run, but then there's a sprint once they really get going. Mm-hmm. And when Jar Jar does it, his long ass tongue comes out of his mouth and just starts flapping in the breeze behind him as he's running. It's great. It's a great run animation.
It's not bad. Also, I'll say this, Bo, you'd love it because there are damage numbers. Everybody you hit has a health bar, and they got damage numbers flying out of their heads, which I just thought of you immediately.
I was surprised. I didn't realize there was going to be a health bar, action role-playing game sort of thing, actually. I didn't realize it.
It's pretty nutty. In fact, I saw you, I think you listed or wish listed the game. It showed up in my Steam stuff that says, Bo wish listed this game or something. And I thought,
I might have. I think I'm on and off with that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because I have a ton of games, but definitely it's piqued my interest here and there.
What really blows my mind about it is the new engine they're using. It's the most realistic plastic textures I've ever seen in a game. The areas that they play in the jungles and the deserts and stuff, that all looks really great too, but it's the actual minifigs up close. You see the little plastic seam down the side. You see scuff marks. Dirty marks like Luke's shoulders, where his head meets his shoulders, and his minifig are dirty, like some kid left it in the sand pile too long or something. it's just really detailed in these ways that I didn't know that was the case. I didn't know it was going to look so freaking good. It's just a beautiful rendering of all things Lego. The action's fun. The stories are goofy. They basically retell the stories of all 9 movies. It's a ton of content. That's the other thing. Plus a bunch of DLC if you want it, with Mandalorian and other things in it. And all of that stuff that you go through the entire plot of the films, like in a meaty way. It's not just like quick bam, boom, bam. You're like, you spend meaningful time in the initial episode 4 stuff trying to get away from Vader and his invading force inside that ship.
I was pod racing in this.
I haven't done it yet, but I hear it's all right. I've done a few things with speeders, and that feels good. Like they actually drive really well.
Yeah, you can fly around. You can do stuff in space. There's like weird hubs where it's like, hey, you want to go fly down to the planet? They have you fly down to the planet like No Man's Sky style, where it's like you're parked up in space and you can go do some space battles if you want, or you can just point your ship at the planet and fly towards it to go land. It's kind of
and
cool.
collect everything like ships and guns and characters and skins for those characters, and just a ton of collectibles. And the eye for detail is really strong. I think this is just a cool game, and I waited because I didn't want to spend $60 or $70, whatever it was.
Such a stupid joke on what was on the screen.
I know.
But there was graffiti on the outside of the Jedi Temple that says "Sand is for losers."
Yeah. I have a lot of great, like legitimately funny jokes that they tell, but they're also, and it's all voiced. I should say that they voice everything. In a couple of cases, it's people you know from some of the animated series and all that, and in other cases, it's different actors. But anyway, so far, super enjoying this. It's polished as hell. There were some nightmare stories about crunch at that company to get this out when they did, so I feel a little bad about that. But boy, does it really shines. It's a really polished, clean, great game. I'm going to put it up there with some of my most fun I've ever had in a Star Wars game. I like it that much. It's very good.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not even that much of a Lego guy, but something about this one really grabbed me. Anyway, that's Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga Complete thing, whatever the full name is.
I think that's it. I think you
I
get
get
it, and you keep adding to it.
I think I did. I added like 4 more words
Lego
to it.
Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga Edition.
Yeah. I don't know why I do that. Then there's this weird thing I did. Maybe I've talked about this on the show before, but I really like the Minish Cap, the Zelda GBA game. So I'm playing that again.
That's a good Zelda game.
It's a great game. It's
Link's hat is a bird.
Yep, he's got a bird. He can fly and float and do some stuff. You got a vacuum, which is cool. It's one of my favorite Zelda games up there. It might even be my second favorite behind Wind Waker. Those are my 2 favorite, I think. And to play it again is a joy. I love it. It's been long enough I don't hardly remember anything, so I'm kind of having to remember or relearn everything, which I'm totally fine with. I'm probably 2 hours in. I'm actually a little stuck on the mountain right now. I cannot figure out what I've done wrong, but the whole shrink you down to little size mechanic works really well. It's just a really fun romp. And you might say, wait, GBA, Scott, what the crap? How are you playing a GBA game in 2022? Well, I own this game. I have a cartridge. And I am playing the ROM on my Steam Deck. So there you go. That's the truth. I actually own that cart. But I'm playing it on my Steam Deck in emulation, and it's wonderful on there. In fact, it uses analog stick instead of D-pad if you want. You can use D-pad if you want to. But the analog stick works so well in this game. I was shocked how good it plays with it. Anyway, a lot of people forget Capcom made this game for Nintendo. They licensed it or not licensed it. They hired Capcom to make the game. And that
really?
make some people go, what? Capcom? They don't know how to make a Zelda game. They absolutely did. And it is great. So I'm super hooked on this right now. It's kind of not all I'm playing, but when I'm sitting on my butt with nothing else to do, I play this. It's very good. And I think I would like to beat it. It might be one of those at the end of the year games that are old that I beat in 2023. This might be.
Yeah, we gotta get that list starting, eh?
Yeah,
I gotta go back to playing Final Fantasies. I guess I gotta pad my numbers out with some extremely long role-playing games.
That's right. I really like it.
You're not gonna be able to finish as many. You got some long ones ahead of you if you're still playing all the Final Fantasies.
Yeah, you're gonna be busy.
But
I also,
sweet.
I almost started Final Fantasy VI instead of this. Emulated that, but then I thought I should just get the Pixel remaster and do it that way.
You should get the Pixel remaster.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm currently just kind of hooked on this. I just love this game so much. All right, there's that. Let's see what else. Oh, I got one of these.
Work harder!
A chorecore game.
Yeah, now I'm looking forward to these.
Exactly. It's a brand new one called Cafe Owner Simulator. Yeah.
Okay.
Scott's
No.
always wanted to own a cafe, and now he's living his dream.
Is it next to Mocha Joe's?
It is
A
not.
spite store.
That would be cool if it was, but it is not, I'm afraid.
It's not a spite store. Okay,
No,
gotcha.
definitely not a spite store, although that's one of my favorite things they ever did on Curb. So I love the idea of a spite store. But basically, you take over this old place that you need to convert into a
Is that
functioning.
the Cheers bar?
It
That
looked
looks
like it, didn't it?
Exactly like the Cheers bar.
This is a load screen. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, okay.
But you take over this. It's all in first person, kind of like House Flipper, sort of. But your job is to clean up. Oh yeah, this is a whole story about the guy who died and you inherited his thing.
Why is he a potato?
I don't know why they look like this. It's really weird because the game itself doesn't. They go for a more realistic look, as you can see on this loading screen.
I was gonna say this looks like the same aesthetic as Gas Station Simulator, but less gross.
It's a
This
very.
looks like the same graphic style of some porn games, but without the porn.
Well, I mean, maybe I got to get further and there's porn. I don't know. But as you can see right here, I'm raking leaves. This is exactly what you think it is. You go there, it's all dilapidated and shitty. You got to clean it up. You got to throw away some stuff and get rid of junk. And then you got to paint walls, put up some bricks, and then you got to hire people to help run the place. You got to build a menu. I'm not super far in yet, but it's one of these, and I like these. So I have a feeling I'll like it just fine as I keep playing it. It's the code was sent to me, so thanks. I'm getting a reputation for this, I think, because I keep getting codes.
These guys like simulate everything, though. I'm looking at their check this out. They have Cowboy Life Simulator,
Yeah, they're into it.
Saloon Simulator, Ninja Simulator,
Yep.
Sim Rail. Oh, that sounds interesting.
They've really laid
Was
into it.
Cowboy Life not being properly simulated in popular games such as Red Dead Redemption 2? Did it needed its own simulator?
Oh my gosh, I kind of want to know now. I want to play that. I'll have to look it up after, but
They got a lot of simulators. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
But this is very traditional in the sense of like you're building a restaurant and you need customers and they're going to come by and they're going to love it and then you're going to build more and then you're going to expand upstairs and build outdoor seating. You know, it's that.
I guess you
progression.
finished Tavern Master, right?
Oh yeah, that
big
thing.
Tavern Master size hole in your life now.
Yeah.
Fill it.
I mean, they keep putting out new content for Tavern Master that isn't technically new game. It's just quality of life, or they added a dartboard, or little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
I may go back to that and see what they've done, but this is fun. It's a fun little diversion if you like these kind of games, which I do for who knows why. Oh yeah, there's the garbage
Did you just
guy.
get money from throwing stuff in the garbage?
I think that cost me money because this garbage dude that you're looking at here, you have to pay $50 for a pickup once you're full, and he'll come and take your garbage away.
I was gonna say sold. I want to live in a world where people pay me to pick up my garbage. That'd
Yeah,
be
it's-
so
that,
nice.
that game is Disco Elysium.
There you go.
You can
Oh, that's
you pick up-
true.
you pick
You're
up
right.
empties and then you turn them in for change.
Yeah. It's
There's
cool
a whole
though.
thing.
Primary source of income through the early parts of that game.
It's a fun little diversion. I recommend it. I don't know how much it costs because, like I said, I got the key. It's probably 15 or something. I can't find it. But anyway, go look for yourselves. It's called Cafe Owner Simulator. So I guess I'm simulating the owner, not this cafe. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you get employees in this game?
Yeah, you hire people, you get contracts. You can do headhunters. They go out and find like really good baristas and stuff for you.
Nice.
Yeah, they come back. I have not gotten far enough to have more than one employee, so I don't know how that dynamic works just yet. But
That's me. You should hire me.
Yeah.
I'm a world-class barista.
I'd hire you. Except Bo is afraid.
I got my own espresso coffee maker. I've been making myself lattes since Christmas. I'm going to gain like 20 pounds just drinking milk all day.
Oh man, I kind of want one though. If I was at your place, you'd make us one, right? Yeah. All right. Well, I'll remember that when I'm
That's
in.
why I got it, to entertain guests with my sweet lattes.
Next time I'm in Ottawa. I'll look you up.
Ottawa.
Then finally, just more WoW. I have been playing that pretty consistently. I think that game's great. I helped make
I heard it's
soup
pretty
today. They made there's a big event where you make soup with a soup master. He's a Tuskar down on the southern, or the I guess the western tip of the new continent, and he's got a giant pot where he's always making soup, and a few times a day there's this event that happens where all these players show up and we all help him make soup, and we fight huge creatures, turn their meat into ingredients, and then he makes this soup, and then you get awesome gear for it and XP and rep and stuff. So
Sounds awesome.
that's pretty cool.
Sounds like every time I've ever made soup. Makes
Yeah.
me nostalgic for all those times I fought monsters to make soup.
I mean, how could it not, really? The other thing is, I just wanted to say, once you've leveled to 70, and I went and got all of the dragon glyphs, these things floating in different places that give you all your dragon powers. Once you max those out, it's awesome. You can go anywhere, you can fly, and it's fun flying, not just like, oh, I've maxed it out, now I can just fly like a regular flying mount. It's not like that. It's shoot you way up in the air, fire you really fast toward the ground. It's crazy. The way the flying works in that game is really cool with the dragon riding stuff, and I highly recommend doing that. Earlier the better. Go find all those locations, get your glyphs, and then that'll help you sail through, whatever you have left. There's one in particular, it's way up in a mountain peak that was so freaking hard to get. I swore many times at my screen. Many times I swore. But I got it, and it's fun. That game's good.
Is the continent divided into zones, or is it just one big play area?
No, it's zones. It's
okay.
Wish I could tell you the zones,
I
but
was
yes.
curious about the way they divide it up, because if you're flying around so much, like, I don't know if they.
It's a lot bigger,
Yeah.
When you
spatial wise.
when you fly high up in the air, the zones kind of look like, here's the snow area, here's the fire area. Like, it's all like, that's not how it would naturally form.
Oh, I see what you
And
mean.
it's just
Yeah.
what I seen of Dragonflight looked like maybe the land was a little more, just less like contrasty per zones. I was just wondering if it really was parsed
It's
out
pretty
this way.
contrasty still. It's just that it is, like John says, it's much larger and a lot of verticality. There's a lot of stuff you're doing up high. So it's like, I'm down here taking a quest, but that quest needs to be finished up on a peak inside of a cave. And I'm going to get up there by smartly using the abilities I have thus far for this dragon to do it. And that's interesting as a mechanic, I think. I don't know.
And like,
it's
I guess my question, I have a question about quest lines too. Are you like, in a lot of zones, you're like, okay, here's the hub, do like Borean Tundra, do the quest. Then I go to this other area a little deeper into the continent at the hub, do the quests, find a little side quest. Is it less linear, like through the continent, because you can just fly everywhere all the time, or do you still find you're sort of progressing?
You're still progressing, but also something that changed in Shadowlands and is still here now is there's a campaign. So there's campaign questing, and then there's all the other quests. Everything. So it used to be go clear out a bunch of quests, and really what determined whether you could move on was whether you were at level or not to do it. But now you'll go into a place and there's a special separate icon above somebody's head that looks a little more important, and you talk to that dude, and that's like your main story quest, and that will run through your whole 10 level, time in the zones. But you also, when you're in those camps doing that, have a ton of dudes with just stuff over their heads, and you're just doing quests because they're there. I guess they're side quests.
It's more MSQE, I guess.
Yes.
I think you're still generally needing to do side quests.
You need to do, so here's what I learned. If you stick strictly to the campaign quest line, you can get to the end of that initial story and almost level 70. You're about a hair away from the max if you do it that way. If you do a bunch of side quests, you will over level and you'll hit 70 before you finish the campaign. That's okay either way. It's not a problem. It doesn't feel bad or anything. But what I've also learned is every single side quest in the game is heavily packed with this XP, this other form of XP. It's kind of like rep. Well, it is rep, but it's a little bit different the way it's handled. And those are all really important to do. Plus, there's some really fun ones. But you don't need to do those to progress that story or hit level 70. But you do want to kind of go back and do them, because they open up other stuff, including like different looks to your dragon. Lots of cosmetics this time. There's a bunch of that stuff in there. I really like it so far. It just feels like there's a ton of shit to do.
Pulling the trigger over the holidays, but didn't end up doing it.
Well, you played a lot of other games, it looks like, so you had a lot going on.
Yeah, that's not even the whole list. I just wanted to keep it short. I've played a ton. I tried. we'll talk about it when I get to my section. But I really tried to channel my inner Scott.
Oh, geez.
Play games the way you
I
play.
did the
to
same
try
thing,
things.
actually.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, my
honored.
list could have probably had 5 or 6 other things on here if I counted like 2 to 5 minutes playing a thing.
I'm slowly becoming you. You're slowly becoming me. That's what's happening. Speaking of me or you, John, let's talk about your list. You played Callisto Protocol, and I really, really, really want this game to be great. So tell me it's great, and if it's not, why?
Well, I didn't have a great experience with it because the game would fluctuate between moving at a really great frame rate, smooth, looks amazing, looks incredible, to all of a sudden hitching so bad it was unplayable. Literally unplayable at times because it does a lot of like, you're getting attacked, press Y a bunch of times, and the frame rate would suddenly stutter down, and it would get to a level to where it wouldn't register my button commands for the QuickTime events, and I'd get killed. So I would actually die from how bad the frame rate had become. Now you told me that it's running better, you think, on consoles. I played on PC.
I
and
fired it
just-
up there. The Series X played real well in the beginning, but I didn't go very far, so I can't tell you.
And
you know.
that's the thing, is like when this was playing well for me, it was playing incredibly well. Like consistent frame rate, no stuttering, no issues, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere it would just turn into a slideshow for me. And sometimes it would be like, oh, something big was happening, but sometimes it'd just be walking down a hallway, or going back through a room I'd already been through. The game has kind of been notorious for having technical issues, but a patch has come out. I guess they initially tried to blame it on a wrong version being released, which may be true, but they have since patched the game, and I'm still seeing plenty of reports of technical issues with it. So I don't think it's just that. Overall, the game is pretty good. I was having a good time with it when I could play it. There are definitely some criticisms that I've heard of the game, which is they are very into this melee combat dodge system, which the idea is basically that if an enemy's coming towards you and you hold left or right on the movement pad, you will automatically dodge an attack coming at you. And then if you think there's going to be a follow-up and you hold the opposite direction, you will automatically dodge the next attack. It doesn't use any timing windows or anything like that, so it creates these kind of cinematic fights of dodging back and forth. What I've heard as a criticism is that it gets old kind of quick, and I can attest to that. I'm not super far into the game, and okay, let me hold left. Okay, I think this guy's gonna do a 1-2 combo all the time, so let me also hold right. And now let me jam the attack button. Like, you can tell they're trying new things, and I think that's important. I think that's good. I don't know if it has found a sweet spot. It certainly isn't more fun than shooting the limbs off of creatures in Dead Space. This isn't as fulfilling as that, because it kind of, what it ends up feeling like is dodge, spam hit, and then they do a thing like you get guns in the game, but I have found guns are more effective to use almost like a quick time event. So what it is if you get your full melee combo off, a little targeting reticle will appear over the enemy, and you can press the trigger to quickly pull out a gun and hit like a bullseye on that target. That's mostly what guns have been relegated to, which feels a little backwards.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I understand wanting to go for a melee focus, but if you don't nail that, that's not going to feel good long term.
So they've got a lot of powers. They're not really powers in the traditional sense. You get like this futuristic warden tool that lets you kind of use telekinetics to a degree, to lift things and throw things. And I didn't find the game particularly scary. Like I don't think I had a genuine like jump scare, really tense moment through my time with it. They certainly try, but for whatever reason, it just didn't register as all that scary. But I was intrigued by the story. Graphically, when it's working, it's beautiful. Like it's really a good looking game. But the gameplay and the monster design is kind of in the middle for me. You know, if people come back and say like, "Oh yeah, the PC version of this is looking great and working great now," I would definitely quickly reinstall it. I got mad at it and I uninstalled it because Scott was like, "Hey, try turning RTX off and see if you have a problem." I was like, "Scott, it's too late." I got mad. I uninstalled the game. I'm not reinstalling it. It's off.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of rough news to hear because I was interested in this one, but tepid initial release kind of made me want to wait.
Yeah.
And then now John's saying this, and it's like,
I mean, performance stuff maybe can get worked out over time. I'm more worried about the dodge stuff you're talking about getting old, or the combat not being great, because these games rely on that stuff being either really tense and awkward and therefore great, or just great in general. And what you said doesn't give me a lot of hope in that. I mean, I'm looking right here. The PS5 play, and the Series X play is reportedly by everybody I've talked to really smooth and no issues. So I would probably play it there.
yeah.
Or wait for a PC patch. But I guess my worry is more fundamental. If the fun isn't there long term and what you're doing minute to minute, then maybe there's a problem.
I will say this. I'm going off of what other people said when I say that there's a criticism about the gameplay, and enemy variety is another big thing where they say there's not a good chunk of enemy variety. And hearing the complaints based on the several hours I've put into the game, I can understand it as a criticism. I was not there yet. I was still finding combat fun by the time I checked out. But if the entire game is nothing but that, and that doesn't radically evolve beyond that, I can see why that would be a criticism for people.
Yeah.
Because it does get a little bit tired to every time an enemy runs at you, you go, okay, hold left, okay, hold right, okay, hit him.
Does it make you
Okay,
more or
shoot 'em.
less excited for the Dead Space remake?
It's made me more because I'm like, oh, now we're gonna get back to it. Now this
Yeah.
is what I'm looking for.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dead Space remakes in 3 weeks.
Is it
Not
really?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
releases like 28th, I think, or 23rd.
Oh, that's sooner than I thought.
And I'm just on the site now. Actually, I'm looking I'm looking at these side by sides because it's a remake of the first one. So they actually have these like sliders where you can pull the old image over the new image, and the upgrade, like the fidelity, does look way cooler.
I'll
It looks
bet.
pretty.
I'll bet. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I guess that was the whole deal with Callisto Protocol, where it's like it's the guys that made the original Dead Space. Like, what kind of pedigree is going on here? It must be good, but.
No.
I think it's just like the bugginess. I'm like, well, you can wait for a game to iron that shit out, right? I'm
Right.
not so needing to play this game. And if Dead Space comes out, it just sort of takes over my attention. I don't know, you
Yeah.
know.
Have you
Yeah.
met have you met Kiriko yet, or whatever character she plays here? I like that actress. She's from The Boys.
Yeah.
I think maybe I have not really done a whole lot. The premise of the start of the game is you're like a merchant pilot or a shipping pilot, and you've visited a prison world to do a delivery, and on your way away from the prison planet you get boarded in space and a fight ensues and you end up crashing on the prison planet, and they, even though you should be, patched up and helped out, they just arrest you and they just throw you in jail.
Oh,
For
not very
who knows
nice.
why. Like
Yeah.
that's part of the mystery of it. And the story was intriguing. Like there's a lot there that's good, but not so much that I'm willing to either buy it on a different console just to get it to work, or struggle through the technical issues that I've been having. So I'll revisit it if I hear that it got a nice big performance patch. I don't know if they're going to really put that level of effort into it. I don't know how well this is doing. I think I saw that it already got discounted during the Steam sale, which is not always a great indicator when your brand new game is already getting knocked down. But you never know. So I think the game is okay, but I think, maybe approach it with caution, depending on
Yeah, it's
how
still
you
mixed.
feel about these games.
Yeah.
Still mixed on
On Steam.
on Steam. It's like a widespread issue. The stuttering. I think I saw it called the Stuttering Protocol or something like that. As
Oh,
well.
man.
It's bad, and I told Scott this. I said, like, it's worse than Cyberpunk, because at least Cyberpunk was like predictably bad. It was like, okay, I know that this is going to go bad because I know this is asking my computer to do things it's not supposed to be doing. The issue is that, like, when 90% of the game is playing super smooth and no problem, that other 10% running like your machine's going to explode is insane. And they do so much quick timey business that it gets you killed. It's like the game is still running in the background and you're no longer having any input. And that's another thing that is kind of strange about it, because it's one thing if it's lag and the whole thing is lagging. It's another thing where it's like the game kept playing while your screen just wasn't showing you anything, which is what it comes across as.
That's not never good. No.
It's weird, but I'll check back in maybe if things get patched up and let you all know. So that was the Callisto Protocol.
There you go. Not to be confused with the Callista Protocol, which is Harrison Ford marrying Callista Flockhart and moving to Wyoming.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
Callisto Protocol is what does he do when he gets home too late from hanging out with his buddies?
That's right. And she says, Harry. And he says, don't call me that. You belong in a
Harry?
museum, he'll say.
I'm sorry, Callisto. I crashed on a golf.
Now, you played a thing that I wanted to play and haven't picked up yet, but I'm super curious about it, and that is the Atari 50, the 50th anniversary celebration thing, which is like a part history lesson, part game revisit thing. So explain that.
Scott, you're going to love the shit out of this game.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
Atari 50, the anniversary celebration. I assumed based on the title when this game came out that it was just going to be a collection of old Atari games, because Atari doesn't really make that much new stuff anymore, so they're kind of getting by on the remember when Atari made relevant video games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I assumed it was. This is not that. This is like an interactive textbook documentary video game combination.
Yeah.
You load it up, they throw you on a timeline, you start making your way through the timeline, and they just start showing all the assets they have over that thing. Here's a blurb about the start of the company. Here's a picture of a business card from somebody. Here's a picture of a napkin where this got drawn. Here's a video about how we found the very first arcade machine ever built, like a ton of them, in a sunflower seed farm out in California somewhere. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, and here's Pong, and you just press a button and you can play Pong. Then there are certain games that they have actually remastered, and they've hired. It's not just like, oh, we updated the graphics. Like they had, independent game companies come through and actually do a modern take on certain games that are in there. And then there are certain games in there that are emulated. So like you can play, I don't remember if it's called Deluxe or just redone or modernized or whatever, but like Breakout is one of them. And you can play a modern take on that full widescreen, full color, full range of everything. But you can also play the original if you want to play just an emulated version of it.
Can you switch back and forth in real time, or is it not one of those kind of
No,
games?
they are they're considered separate games. In fact, they even log them as such, where when it's talking about the history of these games, it full on says like released in 2022 or this is a game by these people that pays homage to the original game, and goes through just all the early days of Atari. I haven't gone through the entire thing, so I'm not 100% sure where it ends.
I think it ends with Jaguar, right? I I know they have that weird kart game in there. They had a Mario Kart ripoff for the Jaguar that was really weird, but I know that's in there. So if it doesn't end there, maybe it ends with other arcade stuff, because some of these are console, some of this is arcade stuff, right?
Yeah. So it is cool, and it makes you want to go through in the order of the timeline and actually see how this all evolved and get the full story. And it's not just about like I want to open it and play ET. Like it's not just that. It's like you go in and you want to see the story. You want to see how it got there. And they don't shy away from it either. There's literally a video in there and it's called "What Was Drug Use at Atari Like?" And it's interviews with all the people who work there talking about how good or bad or non-existent or extremely prevalent drug use was at Atari back in the day. And it doesn't pull its punches. So it's such a cool
Doesn't
thing.
it?
It's like
It
an
leans into even like
interactive documentary and museum exhibit, kind of.
kind of, yeah, right.
Yeah, a lot like that. And I mean, it's like here's a picture, and you just zoom in, look around, and here's what the cabinet art looked like. Here's what the flyer that we sent to arcades to try and get them to buy these things looked like. And it's just wild. Some of the stuff that's in there is just insane.
Yeah.
Things like when they were trying to sell Pong, they include the flyer that they would give to, a bar or wherever they were trying to get a Pong machine placed. And the flyer says things like, I'm sure they thought this was true, but like realistic ball and racket sound effects. And I was like, that is not what a ball and racket sound like at all. But it's right there on the flyer trying to sell Pong. It's crazy. It's just a neat thing, and I don't think you have to be nostalgic for Atari to care about this, because Atari was before me.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of nostalgia for Atari games because I didn't play very many of them. But from a perspective of somebody who just enjoys video games and likes video gaming and seeing where it came from, like, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I do too. I love the history of it. I wasn't really a 2600 fan, but I loved this is when the heyday of my dad's arcade days. So Asteroids, Missile Command, Battlezone, Crystal Caverns, was it? Whatever it was. All of those games of that era, I love that stuff. So playing those Asteroids Deluxe, I would probably spend most, if I'm talking about what I want to play the most, I'd spend most of my time in their arcade stuff. Probably very little in the 2600 era or 5200 or any of that. But I'm interested in the history of all that. So I kind of want to I think I just get this. This looks pretty rad. As
It's
a,
good.
I love that they went, we could just do a collection of games, or why don't we just really go to town and give this the history it deserves and all. I just think that makes this infinitely more valuable for the money. So that's cool. Now you made me want it. Nice job.
Yes,
You
I did
sold
it.
me.
So that was Atari 50, the anniversary.
Tell me about Bendy and the Ink Machine.
I don't know why I bought Bendy and the Ink Machine. I think I was just looking for like a horror-esque game. It's not exactly a horror game, but it's certainly supposed to be a bit on the scary side. It's kind of like it's kind of in the vein of like BioShock, where it's like atmospheric, but there's a horror slant to it as well.
Sure.
And the idea of this is you're going back through an old cartoon studio, where just things are weird and mysterious. And this game is kind of cool. Like, it didn't really scare me. It did scare me more. I'll give it this. It scared me more than the Callisto Protocol.
Oh, wow.
So
wow,
congratulations to it for doing a jump scare that actually got me. It's actually on the screen right now. There's a standee of the character Bendy, and sometimes it just pops out of places. And there's one where I checked a door that I had already checked, and it just slid out from the door, and it made me jump. So officially scarier than the Callisto Protocol.
This
but
art style is wild. I love this.
it's got a really cool art style. It's not the most compelling gameplay in the whole wide world. Like, you can kind of tell this is an indie game.
Yeah.
It's in the fact that like you get an axe as like a way to defend yourself, and it's just like one real generic choppy animation with it. A lot of your time is just spent going from room to room looking for things to progress forward. but it's got a kind of interesting story. It's definitely a cool universe to explore. The art style is really, really cool. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I got interested in it because a sequel to this game came out, and I was like, it was getting really good reviews on Steam, and I was like, well, I never played the first one, but I did hear people talk about this, and yeah, like it has all those qualities of like BioShock, where it's just it kind of immerses you in this weird world, and it's very atmospheric and interesting.
It looks like it would scare
So
me, but so did Callisto Protocol. I think
you
both.
should play it. This would be a fun one for you to play because it would scare you, and that's everybody wins when that happens.
Yeah, we're all winners except me, really, at the end of that. Although I guess we get views on Twitch. All right, nice. This is called Bendy and the Ink Machine. You play this on Steam, I assume.
Yep.
All right, nice. Now, I'm so excited to hear you talk about this next one because I also played this, but a long time ago, and I think I may have mentioned it in passing on the show, but I keep meaning to go back to it. It's on Game Pass. It's also everywhere else. What did you think of Citizen Sleeper?
Citizen Sleeper is a cool ass game.
Yeah.
It is. Citizen Sleeper is like a weird mix between. What's the? We were literally just talking about it. The game Bo really likes. He's always trying to get you to play.
Oh, Disco Elysium.
Disco Elysium. It's like Disco Elysium with some of the gameplay pulled out in favor of a visual novel. It's a little more simplified in what you do, but it's there to tell a story. It tells the writing isn't quite up to Disco Elysium standards, but that is a high-ass bar. It's not far from it. It tells a really interesting kind of cyberpunk dystopian story, and most of the gameplay is just navigating menus, but the mechanics behind it are really, really compelling. Like, the idea is that you wake up every day and you roll dice, and depending on the condition of your body, depends on the amount of dice you get to roll, and the number on the dice depends on your success rate for various tasks that you want to do. So the number of dice determines the amount of tasks you have the ability to do in a day. The number on the dice will affect your success rate at doing those things.
How's that, Bo? Is that getting you excited? You heard about this dice? There's some dice.
Yep, dice are great.
All right.
And so it gives you a bunch of things to juggle. So one of the main primary, and it's introduced very early, so it's not really a spoiler, conceits is that at some point you must have sold your body to a corporation, and they gave you a mechanical body to work for them. Being an oppressed mechanical body person, you escaped, ran away, but because the company doesn't want their assets out there running around, there is a injection or nutrient that they give their workers that if they leave, their bodies just start to decay so that their property is not out there functioning without their permission. So your body is in a constant state of decay. So you have to manage hunger, you have to manage energy, you have to manage your body, which is slowly eroding away, and you got to find a way to help deal with that. And then you also have to help various people that you might come across who then in turn can help you. And it's this kind of juggling act of, wake up, start of a new day. How am I going to invest my dice, my time, my effort? Am I going to prioritize helping others? Am I going to just have to take care of myself? What are my goals? There's like cool things happening in the background. There's a suggestion that the company has found a way to track you and is hunting you down. There's a whole hacking element and a hunter demon inside the computer code that doesn't recognize that you as a user and wants to hunt you down as well. And so there's all these cool things to navigate and timers on things. Visually, it's a bunch of menus. It's a more interesting visual novel, but the story is cool and the decisions feel meaningful and interesting. And I just really dug it. I really dug what it was doing. And I don't know, I could have gotten lost in this. Like, this could have turned into not Age of Empires. Why can't I think of any game names today? I'm turning into Scott.
Yeah,
it's
what's
really
going on
a
with that?
It's really a problem.
Weird.
What's the game that we all play? It's by Firaxis, or is it?
XCOM?
No, the one you just keep playing. One more turn.
Civilization.
Civilization. That's it.
What? Are you? Somebody
think of
just reboot
Civilization.
John.
I get
John
why
needs a
it's Age
reboot.
of Empires, though. It's
Yeah.
historical things.
Sure.
But it's that same principle. Like, I just got lost in this game for a period of time where it's just like you just go, I'll do one more cycle, one more
Yep.
cycle, one more cycle.
Yep.
And it gets very addictive in that sense. And the story's cool. So I highly recommend it. It's on Game Pass. So
Yep.
it's pretty easy to check out if you're interested in it. Again, it's not going to be there if you like graphically interesting games. It's mostly just text and occasional pictures when you meet new people.
They're pretty good. The atmosphere, though, don't you think? It felt,
Yeah.
when I played it, it felt like there was just a cool hum to everything. It's all very cyberpunk.
Yeah, you're on
dystopic.
a ship and you've got the engine hum behind you, and you go to a salvage yard and you hear clanging and stuff like that. It does a lot with a little.
Yeah.
That I think is really good for it. And yeah, Citizen Sleeper is cool. If you liked Disco Elysium, I think you will like Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah.
That's my
It's cool.
recommendation.
Bo, you like good cyberpunky stories. You'd probably really like this one.
Yeah, I mean, it hit my radar at some point. I don't know why. It just looked a little too text adventure, I guess. It's on my wish list, so maybe I was waiting for a discount or something like that. I got a lot of games to play.
Yeah.
But, it's like it's not like there's a lot of stuff shows up. It's good. It's just whether a piece of enticement hits where it's like, yeah, I gotta buy it. Which I have one of those games on my list when we get to mine. But,
Well, we're gonna
it's
we're
on the
gonna
wish-
get to
it's
you
already
now.
on the wish list.
Let's
so
talk about you
fine.
now. Somebody here finished the Midnight Suns, and it sounds like it was you. So
I finished Midnight Suns. Don't have much to say about the game that I haven't already said, but it's complete. I have one achievement left to get. I don't know if I'll continue playing to get it. That's to get the full dark side.
what would that take?
And then I
Would that take a
100%.
ton of hours or what?
I'd either got to start a new game plus. I tried to do it in my current save file after finishing the game, and it was going really slow because I don't have any more conversations, so I can't really earn it outside of. It would just have to be combat playing dark cards, and it was like 2 points a match and 30 minutes a match. I'm like, I can't do this just for an achievement. But there's DLC coming, so I figure I'll stop playing and maybe I'll get that achievement.
Well,
But
that
I'll
makes
start
sense.
to get back to it with DLC.
Sure, sure. Oh, that sounds good. Tell me about Timberborn. I almost bought this. Came real
Yeah, so I bought this on launch.
Oh,
on launch
geez.
of the early access. It's an early access game. Because this was a banished like that has overwhelmingly positive. So I have actually a link there to my gameplay
close. Yep, pull it up.
in the notes. It's a banished like game that is essentially, a settlement simulator, right? So you have a population, it's just like Farthest Frontier, a banished like, you got to set them to work, except this game has a unique theme, beavers. So instead of humans, it's beavers. And the lore, as far as I understand, of the game is that all the humans died, but the beavers survived. And the humans died because of the drought. So basically, there's only green harvestable land where there's near water. So it's not shown right now, but if you go farther out, you can't grow crops. There's no water. It's unhealthy. So part of what do beavers do? They channel water. So I haven't gotten to that stage of the game yet, but you can get dynamite and you can blow up and terraform the land to send the water where you need it to go to help with your settlement. The other mechanic that's unique to this is that there are droughts. There are droughts.
Drought is what I
Okay,
believe what
yeah.
you mean.
Yeah, there are droughts.
Is the drought a separate thing, or did you mean drought back then too?
I think
No, I meant that too. Like,
Okay.
so
there's a drought and a drought.
a draught is a drink.
it's the same thing, right? Or is they two different things?
I thought a
Draught and
draught was a
draft.
drink. No? Did I have that wrong?
That's a draft.
Yeah.
You're right. I've got it confused. I thought draught was like, he drank the draught. No, that's not it.
So a drought is when it's like dry and crusty and there's no water coming out of the sky.
I just assumed there was a weird
Is it drought or drought?
goopy thing. It's drought. I thought there was like a weird goopy thing
Aren't
like
they
Zerg
spelled the
Creep
same
called the
thing?
Draught.
Well, something in the chat says drought is a draft. Not drought. Draught is a draft. So I think my drink was right. I was right about it being a drink. I think.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Anyways, it gets dry. It gets arid and dry, and what ends up happening is that periodically the whole scenario will get dry and the water will run out, and then so your settlement will be crusty. The trees that you need to cut die. Your farm plants will wither out. And there's no water, and you need water and food for your beavers. So you've got to like store up to survive those, and then the water comes back to survive the droughts, droughts, or droughts, whatever. Yeah, and then, and then there's cool beaver specific things like your beaver can break their teeth, and then there's some beaver. Fuck, I can't say anything. A beaver sharpening station where they'll sit and they'll be like sharpening their teeth on the little thing, and it's adorable. I love this game. I'm probably going to play it tonight. It's great. It's Spanish style game, my favorite type, and it's beavers.
Let me ask you this: does the beaver motif how am I put this? You can take it seriously, like it doesn't feel too goofball and weird. And
it's meant to be goofball, but it's also serious. It hits the notes right. Like you can get robot beavers. Like there's tech trees, and you end up with robot beavers, and they produce oil. And you make paper, and out of paper you make explosives. Like there's a silliness to it, but there's an end state where you can just die if you don't take care of your population. So it's like it's a serious game, but it's pretty forgiving, pretty casual so far, and it's friendly. I like it.
When I was looking at this game, because it's on my wish list, isn't there like beavers, like metal beavers? Isn't there like a faction? Like,
so that's the other thing. Yeah, they're different factions. So there are iron beavers, but I can't play them yet because I have to play with the regular beavers. Yeah. And get their happiness up to 15, and then I unlock another faction to play. And they have like faction specific buildings. I don't know what that's about yet because I haven't.
Well, they probably have advantages, minuses, and pluses, right? Like,
I haven't made the default beavers happy. But
I'm so glad that was actually a thing because I couldn't get over how dumb I sounded in my own head as I was like, "Aren't there metal beavers?"
The iron beavers,
Yeah, it's like a faction. Like I don't think they're actually made of iron. They have gray fur. They're like it's like a different type of dwarf or elf, like a drow.
Okay. Oh wait, is that a draw or a drow? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think it's drow, but he was a
drow.
Most of my life, I called them dro, and then there's some nerd rant by somebody who's saying it's not dro, it's
drow.
Not drow, it's dro. And I was like, okay, well,
I thought it was drow, not drow.
It's dro. Oh wait, maybe it's the reverse. No,
because Skyrim has drows in it, and I thought they've said it. They come out and go, "Hello."
There's no drow in Skyrim.
It's drow. You can't have a show on Netflix.
Oh, Draugr is what I'm thinking of.
I'm thinking about Draugr. Yeah, I think it's actually Draugr or Draugr. No, Draugr.
Draugr or Draugr.
I don't know how to pronounce anything anymore.
Oh, that's amazing. It's amazing how far we get.
Drow. I'm pretty sure it's drow. I reversed myself. It's drow, not dro.
There are nerds losing it. Well, we got a few in the chat.
Yeah, Chadman was popping off right now.
Yeah. Anyway, that's great.
Yeah, and this draw. It's funny how close drow and dro are to draught and drought. Like it's kind of all part of the same theme. It's funny. Anyways, Timberborn's effing great. I like this game. If you liked Banish, like settlements, things like Farthest Frontier that I recommended earlier, Timberborn is worth the money. Run, don't walk. It's good.
Still overwhelmingly positive, I think, right? People love this game.
I think I'll launch it. No, I think it's just sitting at very positive now. Okay. I don't know what changed. Some people probably went Ugg Beavers or something.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Ugg Beavers.
That's all it takes. You see a couple of guys with a big red refunded on there, and they say Ugg Beavers, and then they screw up the score for everybody.
I don't play a game with Ugg Beavers. I only like pretty beavers in the game.
Chat room, by the way, is debating now whether it's bow or bow.
See, this is the natural conclusion. Now we gotta go.
Actually, Mrs. Biao Schwartz. The number of people who don't speak English very well who see my name and call me like a telemarketer. It's like, is Biao there? And I'm like,
Really?
You
People have
just
said
turn into a
Biao?
weird cat.
yeah, and they think it's a girl's name too, so I'll get Mrs. Biao, and I'm like,
No, this
Yeah,
is
I'm
like
here.
those emails I get that
Yeah.
say, I get emails that say, hey, we really like core games for core gamers. It's a great podcast, this core for core gamer. Like they repeat the entire long form version of the
yeah,
thing.
well, it's yeah,
Thanks a lot.
that's junk mail. And that was a core or coor?
Core.
Coor, son of a coor. Anyways, the next game was a hilarious purchase. So we talk about games that we feel like we should play or buy and don't forever.
Yeah.
To me, Hitman was one of those games. Hitman looks, like a lot of fun. And then like one came out, like the remake of one came out. Like I've missed all of them. Never played a Hitman. The 101 Studios, I guess, made like Hitman, the new Gen 1, then Hitman 2, then Hitman 3. Well,
Great games. by the way.
you check out the Steam. So I never bought them, but then, the Steam Awards. You see how it's grayed out? It's because of stupid HDR, by the way.
Oh, that's okay. So now I'm seeing.
And
what
you
got
got to keep this on for a little while. This is my first assassination. I keep trying to hide the bodies, and more guards keep coming, and the bodies keep piling up.
Yeah,
I
that
was
sounds like
laughing
Hitman.
So the reason I picked this up was the Steam Awards came out, and nothing about the Steam Awards was a shocker to me, except Best VR Game, Hitman 3. And I'm like, really? I didn't even know this had VR. And, I was like, I got to play the VR Game of the Year. So I bought it. And finally, I'm like, I got to buy it. So I'm playing this in VR. So I got to say, first of all, don't believe the hype. It is fun in VR, but this should not have won VR Game of the Year. I'm sorry. I think this was a meme pick.
This is the problem. It's all audience votes. So
Because all the interactables are press B, like press right grip to pick it up. Like the only thing you really do is drag bodies, which is fun, and you can strangle people. But it has this weird sort of thing where it makes you put your inventory near your penis. So I'm streaming too. So I'm like, every time I'm trying to get my gun out, and it just looks like I'm trying to like do something in my pants, especially when I'm crouched or whatever. It's kind of annoying.
It's like real life.
Because I play sitting, and they just assume you want to run a marathon whenever you want to play VR. It's like, no, I want to sit down and play some VR. Like, make your games sittable, please. But apart from that, I got to experience the joy of this game, which was like, I'm trying to hide bodies, as you see here. I think I killed like 30 different people, and it didn't matter. This video is so long, you might even want to skip ahead because I spent so much time trying to figure out how to get them to undetect me.
Oh my
but
gosh,
it's
they
fun
are
and- it
piling
is-
up. Holy crap, you have a lot of. I thought you were kidding.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, see what I mean? Like, at one point, I'm laughing my ass off. I look and I'm like, I've got 50 bodies now that I'm trying to throw off the side of the building. Keep in mind, throwing bodies off the side of a skyscraper is a stupid way to conceal bodies in the first place. Like, they're all flying down the side of the building. And as I'm trying to quickly do this, but I'm having a hard time dragging them. The dragging's not great. This is not... if you have on sale $20 to burn for the novelty, like, go ahead and do it. But the fact that this won VR Game of the Year award is like a troll. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
must be.
because we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've shot more people in this clip of you playing Hitman than I have in the history of playing the Hitman franchise.
I
agree.
know. Look at all, like, they trickle in one by one. They're like, I thought I heard a gunshot out here, and they walk out to see like 50 dead men on the thing. And I'm
Yeah,
trying
dude.
to
No,
push them
this
up the
is.
side.
I've played 1 through 3, the third-person standard games. I never killed this many people in all 3 of those games combined.
No, I hit him in the head with cans. Like, that's it.
That's great. That is.
I didn't
freaking
give up
great.
though. I actually managed to get them all off the side of the building. So eventually it happened. And you know how this all started? I was with my Mark, and I just went to go get like I accidentally. So something that happens in this game is you accidentally take things out of your inventory
Yeah.
because it's like in your belly, and then people go, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I just got an apple in my hand, man. Like, what are you freaking out for? Like, they kind of freak out over everything.
Yeah.
And then so the guy freaked out and he's like, "Wait a minute, who are you?" And I'm like, "Better shoot him." So I go into my inventory, get my gun, and shoot him, and it makes noise.
Yeah.
And then one by one, guards are coming in to be like, "What's that noise going on out there? Crime in progress." And then
And
eventually, I
then
figured out the best way to knock people off buildings is not to grab them, but to spank them.
yeah, so
Yeah,
you're
I can
whacking him
see
here.
you waving your hand at him. Like,
So I spanked the body. See, like I just give like a little tuk tuk tuk, and eventually I slapped them off the building, and that was more effective. So there's a big learning curve.
A lot of jank.
also, I think it's crazy that you're on a building. This looks like you're on an airship.
Yeah, like a
Well, it's a really tall skyscraper for really rich people.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're
like
so rich
Saudi
they
Arabia
ignore
or
dead
something
bodies
like that.
down at the base of it that have been falling there all day. There's 50
Yeah,
of them.
that's part of the fun part. Is like, I was originally just gonna throw my mark off the side of the building. Oh, I grabbed his clothes.
You
again,
did. You
speaking of
yanked that dude's clothes off, and then
Yeah. Oh, and just a note: the guys in this game are pretty hairy. Like when you take their clothes off in VR, you're like, "Oh shit!"
he
That's
also
a
had
hairy shoulder.
his hand clipped through his chode, so when you tossed him off the edge, you had a hand hanging out of his butt. That's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what are
Anyways,
you even hiding them for at this point? Honestly, like it's just so much work. It's like
at this
everybody's
point,
dead.
it's the
Yeah.
principle of the thing. It's just I started it. I'm gonna finish.
That's
And
great.
it's funny because I'm about to die. Like I'll go upstairs shortly, and they'll be like, "What are you doing here?" And I'll kill me. Like 50 people kill me, and I'm like, "I quit."
That's great. I love that. That's your first taste of Hitman. That's made my day.
I gotta say, I kind of like I enjoyed what I played of it. So I just don't really super recommend it as a VR game, but I'm glad that it inspired me to finally purchase some Hitman because a game hasn't made me laugh like that in a long time. Like
That's
it's definitely like
also Hitman. Yeah.
there's very few games that are comedy gold, and I was legitimately just going back. Look at all the bodies. Like it was just so funny to me.
Where the enemies seem to respond more slowly than I'm used to in Hitman. They're always like, if they see me, I'm dead.
It might be. Well, that happened in other parts. I think I just found like a kind of dead zone where I was able to make a bit of noise, but they were still trickling in one by one to be like, "Hey, you can't. What are you doing? Put your hands up." And I'd be like, "Okay, get my gun." And shoot them in the head. They don't react very quickly. Like they have a gun trained on me. They see me reach into my pants, pull out a gun, and I shoot them in the face. And I'm like, "These guards suck."
They're bad
don't know.
guards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should try the actual like third person Hitman. I think that is a game series I'm kind of surprised you've never played because that seems like a very Bo game.
Oh hell yeah!
Which one?
Just just good old fashioned Hitman 1, 2, and 3. No VR. Just
They're
like, play the
about
game.
to. I heard
Maybe I should,
they're about
yeah.
to combine them into one game now. Like it's just going to be one. All
Oh,
of those
yeah, I
games
heard
are going
about
to be
that.
one, and it's just going to be an
Yeah,
ongoing supported thing.
Yeah, and they got
Yeah,
like
it's
a
in
new,
there. It's in there right now. You can buy 1 and 2 in the client or on Steam. Like that is.
Well, they do
I
let
don't
you,
know
but
if
I guess they're
different.
going to re-release it as like one big massive package, and then there's also
Yeah, they just put it out. The chat just put a link. All Hitman games are getting fused into one mega murder sim. Is the article?
And isn't there
Okay.
isn't there like some kind of weird roguelike thing coming with it? That's
There was a
part-
bunch of stuff in the menus. Like it's very not confusing, but there was a lot. Like it's kind of overwhelming to navigate the menus in VR because I'm like, just take me to the campaign. But yeah, I think so.
Oh, look at
like-
this. So here's the deal. This is great. Anyone who owns Hitman 3 by January 26th will automatically get Hitman 1 and 2 stuff will just be there. If you whether you had them before or not. So if you had them,
so good. So I shouldn't buy the DLCs then. I should just sit on it.
Just
yeah,
buy
I would.
Hitman 3 if you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so I bought Hitman 3. Like it's not
Oh,
Hitman
perfect.
VR. It's Hitman 3 has VR. Like you can just flip VR on. They didn't
it.
sell it
Oh,
as a
awesome.
like, Skyrim's like, buy Skyrim again, or Bethesda's like, buy Skyrim again, and even Borderlands 2, they're like, why don't you buy Borderlands 2 again, instead of just adding the option in the game for free. And so I feel like the Hitman people are kind of being good guys here and just implementing native VR support in their game. So yeah, I have Hitman 3, so it means I'm getting 1 and 2 for free, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome.
that's
Very
great.
cool.
That's very
It's
cool.
such a good series. All three of them are so
I agree.
good.
Do you think they're still making a Bond game? That team.
Are
That
they?
was their net. Well, they were. I don't know if that
That
changed.
just seems so like it doesn't seem to gel with Hitman.
It's too
'cause
classy.
Hitman is too goofy. Like Hitman's about throwing soup at people's heads.
I
It's
found a cannabis joint at one point in a plant holder. Like I just sort of looked in. I was like, "What's in there?" Pick it up, and it's like there's weed. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? I don't know what I do with it." But
Oh, other good news. If you don't already own Hitman, oh no, it was on sale. It's not now.
if you don't own Hitman, it's free for everyone.
Hitman 3
Right?
was 65% off, but as of today, it's back to normal price.
Yeah, I got it on sale because it was the Steam. They had all those games on sale. Like Star Wars was one of those. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga Incorporated, was also on sale because it won an award for best casual, like sit on the couch and play kind of game.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm proud that I finally got to play Hitman. I just always looked at that game and never bought it,
That's great.
and I had a good time.
I love how you did it, and that you're going to get all of it now because you bought 3 and didn't know you were going to get it all.
Yeah,
That's great.
And I probably play some more of it because I genuinely found it funny to play. I was like laughing.
Yeah, that's good.
In the last game, the From Software fans will be happy to report that I finally tried Sekiro.
Oh,
Sekiro. Is it Sekiro? Sekiro?
Sekiro. You only die once or something. How's the?
Yeah, you only die twice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I died a lot more than twice.
I
in
gotta
that
say, I played a little bit of it. This game is freaking awesome. It's so cool.
game. Did this happen for you right here?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. I'm just in the beginning. But the opening cinematic, it's not silent and weird. It's still weird, but not like Elden Ring. It feels very much like you're watching like a weird Japanese samurai movie. But the characters are pretty silent. It is awesome. Like it is so badass. Just the cinema of it, the way the cutscenes unfold, and so far the mechanics are interesting. I haven't really delved too deeply in it, but it's not like an RPG thing like the Dark Souls and Elden Ring games it seems to me. It's more of a just standard dodge timing combat kind of game, but it seems like the system's pretty deep because there's dodge and dodge counters, and then there's block and block counters, there's parrying, and it makes each sword fight feel like a standoff between two guys with swords, and that it's a challenge. Like each sort of little encounter is a bit of a challenge. Of course, it has all the staples of From Software games. Like if you're at a save point, it respawns all the enemies in the world, and there is a sense of getting runes to level up your dude. There are ways to progress your character, but it's pretty cool. I actually kind of looking forward to getting back to it because the way it handles the sword fighting is really neat. Intrigued, and is like I'm bad at it, and it hits that part of my brain where it's like I want to get better at sword fighting in this game, and it's sort of a weird. I just kind of want to see where the game's gonna go. It doesn't really have a story apart from the typical Ronin samurai sort of, or you're shinobi, I guess, in this. But you're an orphan of a battlefield, and a master takes you in and makes you his father, I think. And then you both serve to protect some sort of lord or person. I don't know what the story is. And then someone defeats you, and you lose your honor because you're defeated in battle, and that your goal is to recover this little young man who you're supposed to be their protector. And that's about as much as I know, but it's like all samurai style. It's cool. I'm digging it. I'm sure it's going to be weird, but so far I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. This also won. So the Game Awards gave this best game of the year it came out. So they've had a good run there over from the next little bit.
I mean, I've only played, I guess, so I did this thing. So I have like 80 games in my backlog that I bought and haven't played. So I was trying to pull a Scott or trying to channel you. I was doing some streams and I'd be like, I'm going to play 30 minutes of each game.
Yeah.
Whether or not I'm just going to play 30 minutes, I'm going to load it up, and at the 30-minute mark, I'm going to turn it off. If I'm having fun, maybe we'll make it an hour and it's on to the next game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll come back to this for a little bit because I still have 70 or 9 or so games left to do this on.
Oh my
So
lord.
I'm kind of committed to trying as many games that I've paid for as possible, even if just for 30 minutes. So we'll see where this ends up at the end, but I really liked Sekiro.
Nice. Well, there you go. Those are the games.
And that gives
we
me a
played.
last mention. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it, but you did play this game Against the Storm.
Oh,
I also gave that a try, and I liked it. I played through for the first completion, and I get what you mean by it's the initial part of building a town in one of those city simulators, and then just moving on. And I liked it. I had a good time playing through the first mission.
It's a cool game. They like I do like that part of it where it's like, hey, you know that part of the building games you like? At least to a lot of players. Some players like the long tail, but I really like that.
It's a simpler, focused time, and not like I have all these decisions, right? Like, oh, what do I do? It's going to take me 2 hours to figure things out. Yeah.
Have you fought this big white Yeti looking thing in Sekiro yet? Look at this video. Oh my gosh.
No, all I've done was fight jobbers. I haven't fought anything epic like what you're showing me there.
Oh my lord. Look at this guy. And he just grappled his face, and now I don't think I could play this game.
It's so good though. It's so good. It's challenging, but I'm intrigued. Like I'm definitely gonna get back to it now that I gave it a start. And I think the reason why I really wanted to play it was I've been away from Elden Ring long enough that I'm starting to be like, I kind of want to play Elden Ring again. You know, like I think with the game of the year, and I'm like, why don't I try another From Software game? So I had Sekiro was purchased for me by I think Omega 9X.
Oh, nice. He's a good guy.
And you know, I wanted to get to it. Death Stranding is coming up soon, so
nice. All right, I need to be checking the stream of your non-stop try every game you've ever bought stream. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back from this break, we're going to do a Dear Martha, and we got a little bit more news we're going to run through, an email or two, all that stuff and more. So come back in just a moment. We'll be right back. I mean, it's seen some stuff.
By the way, have you checked Twitter?
No.
Audie drew a picture of our There Will Be Dungeons characters again.
Let me see.
Audie.
Let's start this up again. Let's see. We're back, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there while we took our little break. We're now going to dive directly into Dear Martha territory with a magazine I wish came to America. John, take it. You want to set this up at all? What are we doing here?
I think this magazine did come to America.
Did it? I thought the mega thing was only Europe. I remember being frustrated when I was younger that I couldn't get this here. But maybe I have it wrong. I don't remember. Anyway, anything else you want to say about it before I hit the music?
No, let's just get into it.
Here we go.
My dearest Martha, today's magazine can barely even be called a magazine. I'm speaking about Mega Play, the ultimate all Sega mini magazine. Volume 1, Issue 0. That's right, Issue 0. Just like a podcast, but in printed media form. But let's talk about Mega Play, the ultimate all Sega mini mag. Or as it will claim just 8 issues later, Mega Play, the #1 all Sega magazine.
Oh.
Which, by the way, is a fact, if you believe everything that is printed on magazine covers. But this magazine was one of what would eventually become several system-specific spin-off magazines from EGM. And it's that detail that makes this issue 0, because this wasn't a standalone thing. It was a free insert inside of EGM number 6. But the concept of a non-existent issue of something was too intriguing to ignore. To begin, let's just respect the cover image for this magazine. That it is just a screenshot of Golden Axe, really blown up, with scan lines on full display. No art, just a damn picture of a TV, I think. The quality does improve inside the issue, though. Lots of maps and art. It's not Nintendo Power, but it's all pretty solid. The magazine generally loves everything they talk about, which probably doesn't surprise you to hear. The magazine itself is also pretty much an ad for itself, so there's not really any advertisements to share on this one. But I would hate to write you and not at least somewhat alienate audio-only listeners, so here is a picture of a karate man doing something. The Kmart version of the Mortal Kombat dragon and generic evil knights. Look at it.
Why is he kicking that way?
Anyway, it's a new year for you according to the science I use to determine when to send these letters. I look forward to bringing you more from the past into this brand new year. Yours in time, S. Beckett 90.
That was great. I thought that was something else. I'm thinking of a different magazine. There was a Sega only thing that was in Europe, and I always wanted it, but this isn't it. I didn't know this was an insert. In fact, how did you even find this?
I find all of this. I guess we'll give them a plug because we talk about it enough. There is a website called retromags.com, which is just a archive for all old retro magazines.
Oh yeah,
and you can go there. There's a thing called databases. They have strategy guide databases. Magazine databases is where I typically start. And you can even see the region. That's how I knew this was in the United States, was because I picked from the United States magazines.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
They're not all there. They're not all available. So, like, for example, you can go and find Game Informers, and you can see all the covers, but they are not allowed to share those. So those have not been uploaded on any of those.
Okay.
But for a lot of these, that's why sometimes you'll hear I do the same magazines over and over again. Some of them aren't allowed to be shared yet, and some of them are protected. This was a big deal recently because Nintendo Power allowed for all their magazines to be put up and archived. Right. So it's really cool. If this segment is a thing you enjoy, retromags.com, you will get a lot out of it. Nostalgia wise.
Interesting. So I noticed, archive.org has pretty much all this there as well, but there's no organization to it. So this is really nice to be able to just dig in here and see issues based on collection, based on year, based on whatever. That's really cool. Oh my gosh, 2002 PC Gamer announced Unreal Tournament 2, which didn't happen. It was called Unreal Tournament 2003. Nice job, guys. I'm sure that's all the information they were given. Here is some quick news that we have room to cover still. The PS5 shortage is basically over, says PlayStation boss. So I guess go get one, everybody. They're out there now. I don't know if that means I can just go to Walmart and there's one laying there, but maybe. Anyway, that's what they claim over at Sony. Square Enix CEO is possibly the only video game guy still stoked for NFTs. I like that you put this one in here, John. He still seems convinced.
He is. The truth is most gaming companies are getting out of NFTs or saying they are not going to support them. Valve recently clamped down on any video games that were using NFTs. But Square Enix CEO, last year he started the year off with, we think NFTs are the future. We're going to make a Cloud toy and a Tifa toy, and it's going to have an NFT component. And everybody wondered, what's he going to say a year later? He's maybe not as excited, but he's still into it, and he's still doing it.
Still going.
You know,
all right.
Someone's got to hold that line. There he is.
The Silent Hill remake, developer said it will be faithful to the original. They're going to change some mechanics, but the story remains the same. Probably a good idea. There's some rickety stuff in that old game. GeForce Now added RTX 4080 support. So what that means basically is that if you have GeForce Now, the server racks they're using will have RTX 4080s in them instead of the 3080s they previously did. So they're upgrading essentially their infrastructure to provide even more fidelity for their streaming service.
Can you play Callisto Protocol on them? Maybe
maybe it's good on there. Question. I don't know. That's a good point. You could try. Wouldn't hurt. And the free one, you just wait in line a little bit. Or I guess they don't turn on RTX and stuff, but whatever. Price hikes across the board for gamers in 2023, predicts an analyst. That means that if you don't like this jump to 70, got bad news for you. It's going to keep doing that. The most inflation resilient product in the history of the world is finally increasing their prices for good or ill. So there you go. 60 to $70.
I think, in general, the $70 has been a long time coming. Obviously, you don't say the most inflation resistant for no reason.
Yeah.
But that being said, I wish some of these You can keep charging more and more, but they have found other practices to get your money. And if the price is going to go up on one side, I would hope those practices go down on the other. But I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna either.
I think they're gonna maybe take from both ends.
I agree. Totally agree with that stance. Which is unfortunate, but that is the way of things. Also this.
That's a good question.
Email time. Talktothecore@gmail.com. We got one here from Tim. Tim wrote in and said, "Hey, Scott, John, and Bo. Kind of an obvious question, maybe, but I'd like to hear your opinion on the most recent Steam Awards." Bo, you mentioned them earlier. The specific choice that caused me to ask this question is the Labor of Love Award, which was granted to CP 2077 or Cyberpunk
There's a
2077.
bit of controversy with this one.
Yep.
CP 2077 is getting review bombed.
Oh,
because
yeah,
of this.
big time.
Is that because of the Steam?
Because it won this
People
thing.
take issue with the fact that it won Labor of Love, and they're like, look, they just fixed what they were supposed to launch with. That's not Labor of Love.
Here's the problem,
But
though.
people voted for it, so
Well, yeah, well, I'll finish his email and then I'll tell you the problem. It says the choice left a sour taste in my mouth this year as the game came out in an atrocious state, being unplayable on previous gen consoles, and was only turned into a minimum viable product for a $60 box price tag because player outrage happened and ridiculously high revenue from pre-orders. The other games in the category, like Project Zomboid, having been in development for 10 years with a small player base, or No Man's Sky, releasing free DLC after DLC, felt more deserving. Please let us know your thoughts on this because more than any year before, this left a sour taste in my mouth. What's the point of any category like this if it turns out to be a popularity contest? Love what you do, Tim. Here's the problem. It's literally a popularity contest. This isn't Steam or Valve casting these votes. This is players doing
Or
it.
even nominating for that.
Right,
matter.
exactly.
It's player nominated, player voted, and the Steam Awards are stupid, and nobody should put any emphasis on them at all. What the hell does Game of the Year mean for games? Like, look at what wins Game of the Year. It's half the time it's not something that even came out that year.
Yeah, that's
It is
happened
an
before.
incredibly arbitrary and stupid thing, and it is the reason why when you give the power to the general masses, you usually get a stupid result.
I agree with that, but counterpoint.
The thing about these are they're kind of voting for what should go on sale. So there is a benefit to us, you know. Yeah, I agree. It's not. I think awards are so fraught with so many problems because if they're official awards, you're being told, "Oh, we're looking at what has the greatest merit," but really, they're also looking to be like, "What isn't really selling that we can convince people to buy or watch," as well. So there's a sort of cartel mentality with award shows, at least as it concerns entertainment products.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, most award shows are dumb, and you know, people were saying in the chat room at the start of the show they loved our coverage of the video game awards, and I got to tell you, we weren't very flattering of those, and we've done them in the past, and pretty much not been flattering to most of the video game award shows, but we still enjoy the pageantry of it, and you know, if anything, having some pageantry around this is not a terrible thing.
No, I kind of like the pageantry. I just think the way the Steam Awards should be viewed, which is why I would take issue with people doing review bombs because I understand their feelings, but you're mad at the wrong people.
You're mad at yourselves.
You're mad at yourselves, and you're also
Dipshits.
not. Also,
you're mad at each other.
But to review bomb a game and expect the company to do anything, they're not going to do anything. CD Projekt Red didn't ask to be nominated for this. They didn't want anything to do with it. They just made a game and screwed it up, and then made it better, and people voted, and you know.
I think this is just where debate perverts like to look at what does labor of love mean, right? So, first of all, CP 2077 probably should never have been launched on previous gen consoles. That was a mistake. I just don't feel like even in an updated world, you're not getting as good of a product as it needs to be. Like, to me, I mean, it's fine that they did it, but probably wasn't a good idea. And to me, smelled like a kind of product where I should avoid the terrible version of the product when it's clearly like a next gen sort of tech pushing release.
Sure,
It's
sure.
not a great idea.
Yeah.
But people spent the money and had a product that wasn't working. So understandably, if you were in that camp, getting finally a playable product in the end, doesn't meet the requirements of labor of love. Yes. But, it is. I don't know. Are there ones more deserving? Probably, right?
Oh,
I
100% there
can't
are.
really say they put a ton. If you stack it up against No Man's Sky or some other games, even Dwarf Fortress might be considered a labor of love that finally launched on Steam this year. I imagine it might be up for nomination next year.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem like there are definitely better things to vote for. But
Yeah, but even then,
as
it's like
John says,
it's arbitrary.
dipshits, you did vote for it, so
Yeah.
argue amongst yourselves and don't review bomb the game.
Yeah, it's just it's arbitrary to begin with. So if you understand that, then you should just be blowing this off, and then maybe Valve would come up with a better plan, something
This
more
is
interesting.
the trouble with reviews. Some people take it seriously and write reviews. Other people just treat it like a Reddit forum.
Also, it's all lost on them. This is what really bugs me. It's lost on them that their votes, maybe not the exact same people, but people voted arbitrarily for a thing that didn't really fit and won anyway, and whoop-de-doo, it's all stupid. Then their reaction, people's reaction to that, is to go rushing and review bomb a thing, which is also arbitrary and lame, because that's supposed to be a place where you say, is the game good, is the game bad, here's what I thought, here's what I didn't think. Instead, you're just review bombing it because of these other awards. Like, you're literally doing the same thing in a mirror universe. You're doing the same damn thing. It's so stupid to me. It's just a waste of time on both sides. So do not care about those awards is what I would say. It's my answer.
Well, so for Tim, he said it left a sour taste in his mouth this year. And I'm like, don't worry too much about it. Hitman 3 won Best VR Game, which is also a joke. And, it's just a bit of pageantry and for fun.
Yeah, put your investment in different awards.
It's mainly to get sales. You should be voting for what you want to go on sale. I think you can vote even if you don't own the game.
Yeah.
So
I'm honestly amazed. Here's what I will give the internet populace and the, as I said earlier, dipshits credit for. I'm amazed that Sonic Frontiers didn't take it in every category.
I mean, same. That was so memeified. I was sure it was going to happen, but I guess they couldn't all get together on that one.
I mean, who knows if they pulled a editorial, and we don't even know if there's editorializing with the awards. Like maybe one game did win them all, and we can't do that. So
yeah, I'm kind of curious about that Sonic game. Should I be?
Why not?
I don't know.
When it's on sale.
No, you shouldn't be. You should not be curious.
It's a Sonic game. It'll be $5 at some point. Try it, and then we can figure it out.
There are people that I trust who are like, "This is my favorite Sonic game." I'm like, okay, but what does that mean? What do you mean?
Where's the bar there?
Yeah, what is the bar? Does he say things like, "Hey, that's radical, Knuckles"? Does he say bullshit like that? Because I don't want that.
I need to get me a chili cheese dog.
Oh shit! See, if that's the Sonic, if that's the frontier for Sonic, we're all in trouble.
I don't think Sonic's been like that for a long time.
I have no idea. The movies are all right. They're okay for what they are. And they have soundtracks by the great Junkie XL, who did the music for Mad Max Fury Road. Anyway, moving on.
I don't know. The only bits of Sonic 2 that I've seen, he was like not really in it, and it was a very long scene at a wedding.
Really?
And like had nothing to do, near as I can tell, with Sonic. It was the only, because the kids were watching it, and I came in, and I was just trying to figure out what the hell they were watching, because there was just hijinks going on at a wedding, and it just didn't look like the kind of movie the kids would be interested in. And then out of nowhere, they cut to Sonic, and I was like, what is this? Why was that scene in this movie?
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't see 2, I guess. I've seen 1. I assume 2 is probably passable. It's probably all right. 1, the first Sonic movie is the last movie I saw before the pandemic hit. That's the historic marker it is in my life.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was the last film I saw in theaters.
Before theaters died.
Yeah.
I
mean, I've seen
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I saw the only other movie I've seen in theaters since, and this is mostly has less to do with the pandemic now and way more to do with how crappy the theater going experience is these days. But was Spider-Man. So it went Sonic, Spider-Man, let's have all the Spider-Men together one movie What's it called?
Yeah.
Far From Home? No Way Home?
No Way Home, yeah.
And then that's it. I haven't been back. I haven't even seen that Way of the Shape of the Water or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, but who cares?
And a lot of $1.5 billion in revenue, I guess, cares, but I don't know.
Can I tell you what my problem is with that? Because I actually don't hate the first Avatar movie.
I don't
like
either.
A lot of people like to dunk on it real bad.
I don't mind it. It's fine.
And the criticisms are legit, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest issue with it is that it seems to be all about water, and because I know James Cameron loves water, I just feel like he's pushing an agenda on me.
The big water agenda.
Yeah, he's just coming in and being like, care about this. I'm like, but I don't, James Cameron. He's like, too bad.
He's still he just all he wants you to do is watch his documentary about pulling the Titanic up, not the movie, but the documentary. That's what his real goal here is. Don't fall for it, James Cameron, you a-hole.
I'm not falling for your propaganda, man.
Nope.
I like water fine, but I got a weird phobia about stuff underwater, so, just keep it away from me.
Yeah, it's a lot of water. I always get the name mixed up with that fish guy who does it with the lady. What's it called? The Shape of Water. Shape of Water? Water Shape. Whatever it is.
I don't know. I saw that movie. She did have sex with that
She
fish.
totally had a fishman sex. Absolutely she did. Moving on. That was
They
by
have
the way.
sex in the water?
Oh yeah, dude. Well, it's the only place.
Yeah, they fill up a room.
Yeah.
A room in a house and have sex in the room in the house.
Yeah.
Isn't that like adjacent to shitting in the lake? Like, wouldn't you want to not have sex in the water? 'Cause
Well, Richard
Man,
Grant
that's
is in the
where
other
you
room.
draw the line. You're like, I'll shit in a lake, but you have sex in there?
No,
I'm
but
out.
this movie won like an Academy Award. Meanwhile, I'm getting raked over the coals every day on Twitter. But but yeah,
see-
sure. There's like a
see,
little bit of jizz and leftovers in the water, and now it's all good. Academy Award.
But
for
see, you actually shat in a lake. These people, he's a CGI fishman, mostly CGI in that scene. He wears a suit. They didn't actually do anything. So, but you've actually pooped in a lake. They've never really had sex in a house.
Yeah, but that fish pooped in his lake, right? Like, where else is he going?
Wait a minute.
This is my original point. It's like fish, all the wildlife shit in that lake, even if I didn't.
So that guy,
So.
I didn't think about that. Maybe so. Doug, what's his name? Doug, that tall guy that plays all the tall people. I can't think of his name.
Doug
He's
Jones?
great. Doug Jones, that's it.
Oh, I got it.
Hard name to remember. Jones.
Like that Bo was guessing and he got it.
It is Jones. Doug Jones.
The only reason I said Jones is I think I saw a Duncan Jones tweet today, and I just had Jones in my brain.
He's the only good thing about Star Trek Discovery. He plays Saru, and I love that character.
Yeah. But I wanted to close
yeah.
out on one thing. by
Oh,
the
go
way.
ahead.
Just if you're feeling salty about Labor of Love, maybe it doesn't meet the high requirements that you would think for this. But one way to think about this is it signals appreciation towards CD Projekt Red because they have been fixing their game and generally making good moves post launch.
Yeah.
Where, we've seen that not happen. So, I think a lot of people have turned around, and that's why there were a lot of votes.
I would also argue that the real labor of love is how they're treating Witcher 3 after all these years with this big update they did. This is, it's really good. So
That's why Scott voted for it.
Yeah, I would have voted for them.
Yeah.
Wrong game, but right company, I guess. I don't know. I like that they did that.
Think of it as a signal to the company to be like, good job. Here's your nuggets of reward.
That's right. Tim, thanks for your email. Emails come to us at talktothecore@gmail.com. We also got a quick text here. This one says, send these to 801-471-0462. Or, as I like to point out, it's you can spell it on your phone, 801-410-HAMS. Like the
What?
number 10.
That somehow made me more confused about the phone number. You did not help.
But if you
Wait,
go to
10 hams?
10
That's
yes. So if you go 4, so you go 801, 4, those numbers all stay. And then the 71 spells 10. Oh, wait, that's not right.
But then there's a 10 in there. You have made this way more confusing.
Yeah, I think I screwed that up. How did I do that? 10 hams. Oh, no, it's 801, 410.
There's only 3 digits after the 10. It would have to be ham.
Well,
but
no,
I
you can
even-
you can put other numbers. That's
but
how they
it
used to
wouldn't
do
be
it.
ham.
No, they used to do it
'Cause
back in the
6
80s. They put an extra number, even though when you type it, it means it doesn't do anything, but it's still spelled better, so they kept it.
Oh, Okay.
So that's what I think I did there. But you know what? Ignore all of that. Just use 801-471-0462. I think that's the way to go. John is right at the principle here. Anyway, says this is from somebody we don't have a name from. They didn't leave one. It says, wanted to chime in about what to call Vampire Survivor likes. Similar to what you mentioned last week, I call them bullet heaven games because you are the one creating the bullet hell.
Oh,
interesting.
We just call them 10 hams games.
10
What
hams.
the hell does 10 hams even mean? How is that simplifying it? Because people say 10 hams all the time. Like, hey, what'd you have for Thanksgiving? 10 hams. You know how it is.
Yeah, you've heard the old term, 10 hams.
10
I've never
hams.
heard this. 10 hams.
It's
Sorry,
nothing.
what
It's
does that
nothing
mean?
famous. I went to try to find out what the phone number might spell. Like, what does my phone? Let's try this. Phone number
Those 10 hams.
spell, and here's what it says.
Oh, the phone number writes out 10 hams.
So
1-800-10-hams.
No.
No, wait. 801-471-0462. So here's what it says. Here are my options. Okay, here we go. We got it. 1-800 is 10 gob. That's pretty good.
Is 10 gob?
I don't know if it is.
Nobody will forget that.
How about this one? 801 is 10 nat. 801 is 10 goal. 801 is 10 hoax. And 801 is 10 inch.
There you go.
How about this one? 801 is 10 goat. That's pretty good.
Why don't we drop the 10? Why don't we just
Is
make
it 10
it
TEN or
801-471 goat?
It's 10. So you do.
Oh, yeah. 801-471 goat.
But is that right?
That's not
There's
right.
no way that 6 is A.
No, you need the 801 is.
I don't want the is.
Yeah, but there's still
I don't
no
want
way
the is. I
A.
definitely don't want the 10.
He wants
The
no
only
is.
the only word in this that's easy to remember is goat or hams.
13 interesting combinations. Okay. This says this is all the mnemonics that that are capable. Gob, hob, hawk, whore, goad.
Oh, let's do that one.
But they all have the
Read my
801.
text.
They all have the 801 IS-10 or 801 is 10, and then you got to put the other thing on the end.
801 is 10. I'm with John. I don't like his 10. Let's drop the his 10.
I always wanted to have a number that spelled something, when the letters.
Didn't you used to call it the gob line and
Yeah.
just say gob?
Yeah, because gob.
That was fine.
Yeah, but that was 801 is 10 gob, right? Oh no, you know what I did? I went 801-471-0 gob. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I just used the last three.
Stop saying the word is 10.
All right, I'm never saying it again. It's never getting said again. Don't call that number. Call 801-470-4 gob. No,
You missed the
0
number.
gob. 801-471-0 gob. There you go. GOB.
Just 1-800-10-hams.
Yeah, do the is 10 hams. All right, where are we
So
now?
many people just got text messages. They're like, what the hell is this?
I know.
Lake Run. They're like, why is it saying like, ooh, what?
This is the perfect moment, though, because now we're going to give away a winner. We've been talking for 2 weeks about this.
Oh, shit. This is a hypey moment.
yeah,
You
this is a
have,
hypey moment. I even have a sound for it here. Kind of goes on for a while. That's almost done.
I love the use of the farting instrument in there.
Oh, was there a fart in there? I didn't hear a fart.
What the hell was that sound?
Yeah, do that again, Bo. Something didn't pick up right. His Discord did something weird with
Is it
that.
some noise gatey thing?
I think so. I'm not sure. Maybe you have the chaff. Anyway, what was my point with this? Oh yeah, right.
We're
giving away
announcing
the
a
thing.
winner.
So this is
We're
the-
announcing who won 10 hams today.
10 hams. Finally.
Finally, we're giving away those 10 hams before they go bad. No, we're giving away this doghouse system. This is a massive gaming rig. You've all seen the specs before. I don't have to get into that again. But doghouse
Wait,
systems.
before you start, you all in the chat room better be here next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We
After
better
we
see
give
every
this
damn
away.
one of you for waiting this long. You better all be here. So we did it at random because that's the fair way to do it. You don't pick favorites, right? and I know a bunch of people personally who signed up for this. I don't know how many people total. I think we're somewhere in the 4,000 range, 4,000 or 5,000 people signed up or something to that effect. Anyway, we took that number, did a random poll from that, and we have a winner. I'm now going to look at the name, which I haven't done previously. I've been ignoring it. And the winner is... Sorry, that was the wrong thing to click. Sorry, that was... Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. The winner is...
What did you mean to press?
I meant to push another, excited, ding or something.
Let's start again.
No, that's not it.
Oh.
I can't find it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know, I'll put it in the background. There, that's going on in the background. Our winner is... Oh, here it is. Allison Madrigal.
Woo!
Allison Madrigal. I don't know that name, so what that means is A, Crofton didn't win. Hooray.
Right.
None of my friends or anybody who tried to sneak in there won.
Well, I'm sure Allison is really happy you just said not my friend.
That's not what
She
I
in
mean.
the chat room right now?
No, I
just see a
don't.
lot
Well,
of
I don't
grats.
know. Is she? She might be. Now, how quickly does our viewer count go down with everybody bailing?
There's a
Everyone's
hashtag
like,
going.
done.
Hashtag no Crofton.
Yeah, no
I
Crofton.
mean, you just, if we had over 4,000 entries, you just disappointed over 4,000 listeners.
I kind of hate it because I want everyone to win one. I really do. But there's only one,
Absolutely.
and one person has to win it. So, Allison Madrigal, I will be in contact with you if you're listening via email, which I have from you from the entry, and you will be the happy owner of a hot, new, amazing rig from doghousesystems.com. Congratulations and well done.
If
And
you're
huge
not
thanks.
live, Allison, just know the chat room was. I've not seen cheering like that in a while. Some pretty big congratulations.
They
People
were
are
very
stoked.
supportive. And also, Scott does think of you as a friend. Don't be too offended.
Oh, you know what else I should do? Maybe this is too personal. I don't know if I should. So what I did is I asked people why they think they should win it. That was just for fun, like flavor text or whatever. Should I read why she...
Yeah, unless
Wanted
it's something personal, like
Well, I haven't looked, so let
Screen
me
it.
let me
Screen it.
look.
I don't know why anyone would want to share that, but if someone was like, I don't know.
Oh, maybe I did see this.
If it's wholesome and it's going to make people feel okay about losing, then share it.
Okay, here goes.
But not if it's personal.
What was her first name? Sorry, what did I say it was?
Allison.
Allison. Thank you. Okay. How do you spell Allison?
Allison.
I-S-O-N.
Assuming you spelled it correctly in our doc.
Let's see. There are two of these. There it is, Allison Madrigal. Okay, here is what she said.
Green.
Oh, this is really nice. You know what? I am going to read this. I hope that's okay. Wow. All right. It says, I would give this to my brother. I'm a single mom who just recently got out of a very abusive relationship. He has always been there for me, my brother, and my 4 kids. He gives me money whenever I'm shorted without a question. And even though sometimes I can't pay him back, he is always there when I need a shoulder to cry on as well for a little extra help. That's really nice.
Oh my god.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I mean, two grats then, Allison and her brother, who doesn't even know this is happening.
Well, we don't know if he's going to get it. She may actually get the computer and go, I think I'm going to keep
can
it.
get
I mean, she can.
hand-me-down.
She wants.
Yeah,
She's
and hand
totally
me
up to her.
down the one she's currently using.
Absolutely. But
Which, Allison, I might recommend. It's a pretty sweet computer.
But it's definitely a better response than suck it core dick
Can we
bags.
send her a Doghouse System sticker so she can stick it on her old one and pass it off? As the
just
good
pretend
computer?
like that's what that is. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But John's got a good point. Some of these are like, I'm going to play solitaire like I've never played it before and things like that. So
All
she
right, I
like
think
this.
chat room has decided, our live chat room has decided we should send hams.
You're going to send some
Well,
hands?
okay, well now we have our next contest. Stay tuned. Next time Core gives something away, it's gonna be 10 hams.
Yeah, we'll work with
Is it
meat.
okay to ship hams in the mail?
Sure. Yeah. I've gotten a ham in the mail from
Oh yeah, you sent me salt. I got the salt, by the way. Keep meaning to tell you, I got the salt.
Oh, you got the salt. Oh, it made it to Canada. I was worried about that.
Made it to Canada. I finally got it.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
so
Put
I'm
it on
gonna have
stuff.
steak real soon.
It's really
I
good.
was so annoyed. I made steaks yesterday and I got to the salting part and I was like, there's something I was supposed to do, which was use that salt.
You forgot.
And I forgot and I used other salt and then I remembered after and was like, gosh dang it.
these
that
are the
was salt
regrets.
I wanted to use.
These are the regrets. we
Maybe
live with.
hams could be our gamer bathwater, like what we do as a product. Like we
Wait a
can
minute.
sell hams that
Core 10 hams.
I will
You
put
only
the
sell 10 hams at once. You
no, but
gotta
maybe
get a lot of
we'll up the
hams.
price on it. I will sleep with them in my bed,
Uh-huh.
and then I will send them, and they can have Bo's core
Ew,
ham.
gross.
Bo's lake washed hams.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Lake lather,
washed
Lake
in the lakes of Ontario.
Nobody
Lake
wants.
lather ham.
Nobody wants the weird. Nobody wants the weird ham you've been spooning all night. That
Okay, we
sounds
don't want to
terrible.
do gamer hams, just regular. Then we can leave them packaged and still sell them. It's just that I'm spitballing.
Well, it's fair point. Some of these. Oh, that's cute too. There's a few of these that are really nice. I'm sorry you didn't all win. I really, for
Oh,
truly.
don't feel guilty. We have to do this again. If Doghouse Systems liked what we did, maybe they'd happily. I don't know how this came to be, but if there's anything we can do, if you're promoting something, want to help promote, give away something nice to our listenership, please reach out and let's do it.
Yeah, and also if you're
We
in the
like giving
market,
things away.
do support Doghouse Systems. They're awesome. We love those guys. DoghouseSystems.com, and also big thanks to Intel for being a part of this as well. They were a big part of making sure we could do this and do it when we did it. Those guys are awesome.
That's awesome, by the way. Like, shout out, hi Intel.
Yeah, Intel's great. They're inside. They're inside you right now, Bo.
They're inside my PC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I meant. That's it for the show. Again, happy days to Allison. That's awesome. I'll get in touch with you right away. I would like to thank some patrons. This is going to sound insane, but these many people have joined us since we last mentioned names.
Oh my god.
I know. I don't know what's going on, but thank you to Chad, Shanafan, Tom, Zulgeek, Michael Goetz, Evan Anderson, Gerben. Gerber didn't support.
Making up names.
Robbie Hill, Meggie, Jade. I'm going to use just first names. Well, no, this is
That's
too normal.
probably a good idea. Just
Yeah.
do
Let's do
first
John.
name and last initial. How
There you
about
go.
that?
Jade M, John B, Teddy Shields. Oh, that might be his real last name.
That would be a full name.
Yeah,
not
I was thinking that was a
preview.
cool nickname. Levi M, Rupnik. No, Rupink. Having a hard time here. Carl N, Oba, Kevin N, KS, KA, Kyle A, rather. Jambo the Second.
Embo, nice. I like that name.
Jambo. Catherine K, Sayak.
Holy shit, this list is
I told
long,
you.
guys.
I know. Austin S, Michael A, Nicholas Y. We got Rasmus F, Tesseret Dynamite. That's amazing. Luis T, Chris, Deja Vuproned, I think is how you say it, and Ryan R. You guys rock. Good Lord, look at that
Thank
list.
you so much.
Yeah.
What a
That's awesome.
rush
Great-
on
Great
Patreon.
way
I
to
love
start
it.
the year.
Yeah.
This is usually when that sort of thing goes down.
Yeah, you guys are
Everybody's
amazing. The core audience
hurting for
continues to
money.
be the best. So thank you all very much. If you would like to be among these luminaries, you can do it and never experience an ad on the show. You'll get pre-show content every single episode and monthly benefits by going to frogpants.com/core. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. Where is it? Oh, it's up there because the list is so long. Patreon.com/core show is where you want to go there. Patreon.com/core show. There's a link.
I guess
on the
we're
other
getting
side.
close to me doing one-on-one coaching on Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, we gotta figure this out.
Oh,
in
I
the new
changed
year.
that. It says something else now, but we should.
That says something else. What is
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
don't
know. What have we
remember.
promised?
I don't remember what I
Well,
said.
Okay. I don't remember. Is it something I should know about? Because I was like at the.
I'm gonna go.
No, I went to the Patreon. It says if we can achieve the $1,000 per episode goal, Bo will offer one-on-one coaching sessions for
think we
You
patrons.
better,
changed it,
you better
though.
get your
That's $5 and
knowledge
above.
back on
Okay.
Heroes of the Storm, dude. You
I'm
gotta
still
get
good
it.
at the game. I'm still training. Maybe it's still something we can fulfill.
Yeah, but I
this,
still
yeah.
think I changed it. Hold on, membership. Here it is.
We're gonna do this live, everybody. We're gonna figure it out right now. For you.
Um,
Get Bo off the hook right in a second.
I can't
I
find
mean,
it.
sleeping with the hams would be easier.
You know what? You just picked today's title, "Sleeping with the Hams." Nice work. Sleeping. I gotta
Okay,
write
so
it
sorry, chat room. It's not going to be no Crompton. You didn't win.
down. Yeah, see, this is the problem. You guys voted for. It's like the Steam voting. It doesn't actually matter. What matters is sleeping with the Hams. So we're using that. That's it, I think. Let's have Grandma sum up the games we played today before we get out of here. Grandma, take it away.
They played so much this week. If you don't remember what they played, I can hardly blame you. And it's a new year, and it's confusing. So if you forgot what games they played because you were distracted, Scott and John played Hot Wheels Unleashed because they're children. And then Scott continued to be a child, and he played Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga Journey. He also played The Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap on a legal ROM. It's very important that Nintendo knows this. It was a legal ROM. He owns it. He'll mail it to you. Yeah. And then he is living his dream as a cafe owner simulator. John sort of played the Callisto Protocol, but it's stutterier than me and the Arby's. He also played Atari 50, the Anniversary Collection. And Bendy and the Ink Machine, which is a scary game sometimes, and Citizen Sleeper, which was the text adventure visual novel. Bo finished Midnight Suns. He played Timberborn, so if you were like, why'd they talk about beavers for a while? That was where the beavers were. And he also played Hitman 3 in VR, killed a lot of people, and he tried Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Uh-huh. Grandma, let me ask you a question. Why Arby's? Why do you stutter at an Arby's?
I genuinely don't know why I said
That's amazing. I don't know. That's going to stick with me tonight. That'll do it for us. Thank you all for listening. No. It was wonderful having you here. We'll be back next week with more.
Congrats, Allison.
Oh, yeah. Congrats, Allison. Woo! We'll see you next week.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
It is a gift.
Oh.